you go. All right. Hey, Kat just jumped in there. Kat, how are you? Long time no talk. All right, Sean. So let's officially get this thing kicked off. We like to start right on time. So welcome everyone again to the monthly masterclass. We put this on. Sean and I are post-purchase pro. We always like to jump straight into valuable strategies and content so we can stay on schedule. We are going to do a quick audio check and visual check. So in the chat box, to shoot us a message, let us know if you can hear us and see the screen, and then we'll get this thing started.
So Seth, in the chat box, I went ahead and posted a link to the next event that I'm going to in Miami. So if you're on this call today and you or someone you know is in the Miami area, you can go to this URL and use the code USA April 23. It'll get you in a free ticket for this live seller training where I'll be speaking in Miami tomorrow. So since we had a little bit of a snafu this morning and our first speaker had some technical issues, what we decided to do, Seth called me and said, hey, can you just go through the presentation that you did in New York last night? So I have that queued up and we'll run through that. It's going to take about 30 minutes. Seth.
Yep, let's get right into it. So Prit says loud and clear. We can hear you and see you. Hey, Marius, Matt, and Vladimir and Cedric and everybody jumping in. This is going to be fun. So first of all, we have a quick announcement here. So 2 times per year, Sean and I host an Amazon Hacks seller training. You may have been familiar with some of the ones that we did last year, like the 31 hacks training, or the one that we did in November was 49 hacks. So if you're familiar with those, you know the format, you know what it is, but basically it's a bunch of quick strategies that you can deploy in your business and get a meaningful result in terms of growth or money savings, basically add dollars to your bottom line. We are hosting another one soon, and I just wanted to let you know that I've seen the strategies that our partners have been submitting. They submit hacks to us that we can share with you guys, and I can tell you that this year is going to be even better. We're going to go live on May the 10th with our 23 hacks Amazon seller webinar. So go ahead and get registered. It's 23 hacks because it's 2023. So we thought that would be fun. All you need to do is go to 23hacks.com and get registered for that. So I'll leave that up here for a second and type this into the questions box or the chat box for you guys. 23hacks.com. Well, Sean, if you have the ability to hyperlink that for everybody, then go ahead, or May, you can do that as well.
It's pretty self-explanatory, 23hacks.com.
Yep, easy enough. So guys, go ahead and get registered. That's going to be amazing. Second thing that we want to touch on here is I just want to remind you what we're doing here today. The monthly masterclass is where we bring you the best entrepreneurs and experts from around the Amazon seller and e-commerce industry to share the best strategies for growth on and off of Amazon. As always, we have 2 to 5 guest speakers. Each speaker will be sharing for 20 to 45 minutes, and the topics will usually center around creating more profits through a wide variety of approaches. That uniqueness is what we're after here. We don't want the plain vanilla strategies that everyone else is using. And it's going to center around Amazon or e-commerce typically. Sometimes, though, we're going to bring you something that's really outside of the box just because we think that the opportunity is too good not to share. And we try to strategically place unique speakers together in the total session. That way, there's always something for everybody and it gets you thinking outside of your box. Okay, important. The reason why we are hosting these masterclasses is to help you make more money. We never, ever accept payment of any form. That means we don't accept affiliate commissions from any of our guest speakers. And so you can rest assured that if we bring a speaker on, that's because we think that they're going to be valuable to you and add value. All right, we share some bonus strategies from time to time, once or twice a week typically, in a WhatsApp group. And if you want to get in the WhatsApp group before it's full, then you can simply go to joinprivategroup.com or scan that QR code and it'll pull you right in. And then we'll drop a video recording of Sean and I walking through a strategy sometimes. Sometimes it'll just be some text of, hey, try this out in your account for optimization. But we do like to share in there pretty regularly. So go ahead and join that before that group fills up. All right, here. Charles says that Zoom was giving him a little bit of an issue. It required a sign-in to get on the call. So that's a little strange. But thanks for the notice on that, Charles. Maybe it's a Zoom setting. All right, here's today's agenda. And this is going to be, we have one extra slot here that we're going to kick things off with Sean in just a moment. But basically, we're going to be talking about how to increase sales and profits with Amazon DSP. So if you're curious about how to drive more traffic from Amazon ads, then we're going to jump into that today. How to get more people to say yes with ethical influence and persuasion. You know, how do you get somebody to move and make a decision? That is always profitable. How to use data and research to create an Amazon listing image that converts. We're going to walk through that. And then the major growth levers to pull while diversifying your risk. We have some really cool strategies. All of these are going to be presented by a different guest speaker today. So, Sean, I think what we need to do now is cue you up, because I know you're going to kick things off with one of our favorite strategies that you just gave a talk about last night.
Yeah, Seth, sorry, I was just sending a WhatsApp message. So you should be able to see my screen now. It says welcome, Creative Cloning.
Let me take a look. Yes, all good.
So basically, some of you on this call probably already seen this presentation, but I assure you, don't go anywhere. I'm going to burn through this as quickly as I can. We just had someone back out at the last minute, so we didn't want to sit here and fog the screen for 30 minutes. So I'm going to run through this real quick. It's called Creative Cloning. We have a handsome gentleman named Michael jumped up on the screen there. So how's it going, Michael? You can go ahead and hide your webcam until we cue you up. So I'm actually recovering from 7 hours at an event on my feet yesterday here in New York, and I got to meet some amazing sellers yesterday at the it's called the Scale Series by Avast and Scale for Retail. So I'll go ahead and repost it in the chat box. But if you are or know someone in the Miami area, then I have a coupon code here. I can get you a free ticket. If you look at the chat box there, use that link, that Eventbrite link, and the code USA April 23 gets you a free entry to the event in Miami, which I'm flying to tonight. I'll be presenting some unique strategies there tomorrow about launching products. So feel free to join me there. But for those of you that don't know me, I'm a husband and father of 4 children. I've been an entrepreneur my entire life. I started offline in direct response, like way before the internet was cool or even the invention of Amazon. I've launched over 1,000 private label products. We built several brands, sold many businesses, and then Seth and I together co-founded Post Purchase Pro. And as much as I hate to admit it, I spent the first 16 years of my life in Indiana, and I've spent the last 30 years trying to forget about it. Not really, it's not too bad. There are a lot of farmers in Indiana, so I wanted to have this little analogy up here for you to understand. Anytime you join an event like this, whether in person or virtual online, there are a lot of ideas and strategies that are thrown at us, and you have a choice to make, just like a farmer chooses what to do with his seeds, right? Because, you know, there's only 2 things that we do in Indiana, right? So that's farming and fornicating. But when it comes to farming with the seeds, you can either consume the seeds, or you can store these seeds for later use, or you can plant these seeds of success and hope that they'll sprout into more abundance. Now, what I'm talking about here is consuming means you just sit here and listen and you do nothing. If you're storing up the seeds, maybe you're taking notes or recording this to do nothing later. But the best thing that you can do when we share these seeds, these strategies, these hacks, these tactics of success is to plant these in some fertile soil, water and care for these seeds, and hopefully they'll grow into an abundance of and additional sales and profits for your business. But it's your choice. No one can tell you what to do. So I want you to focus on this. A lot of these presenters that come here today to share some amazing strategies with you, and they're taking time out of their day. So the least we can do is take action on what they're talking about and pay attention, right? Action, though, not meditation, is what's going to bring real change in your business. So Today, I've decided to share one of the three core pillars of my success that's allowed us to scale to over $1 million per month on Amazon in less than 18 months. And I have to warn you, it's not something that you're going to see in some Amazon seller course. And if you really focus today and take action, this will fundamentally change how you build your future listings and scale on Amazon. So let me just ask you, what is the simplest and most profitable way that you can double your sales on Amazon? Just go ahead and type into the chat box there what you think that is. What's the easiest way to double your sales? And then we'll come back to those answers in just a moment. So go ahead and type. Yep, I can see the chat box blowing up there. Just give me your opinion. If you wanted to 2x your sales in the next 30 days, what could you do? I'm talking about double. Well, it's a process that I call creative cloning. I want to share that with you today, and I can see some of you joining the room here. If you're joining late, I apologize. If you've seen my creative cloning before, bear with me. We had a presenter cancel at the last minute. Seth literally called me and said, "Hey, I need you to jump on here and fill in 30 minutes with something amazing." I thought, what's the most valuable thing I can share in 30 minutes? And it's creative cloning, because it's going to show you how you can double your business. Seth, what are they typing in the chat box there?
Yeah, some really good responses here. Kyle says better PPC, outside traffic, optimize, launch new products. Those are some of his ideas. Phil says use product inserts. Rick says advertise. Prit says clone your existing product. Mike says improve CVR. Some really good responses here, Sean.
Great. So those are all good responses. But the easiest way to do this in the next 30 days, in my opinion, is a process that we call, obviously, creative cloning. And remember, these masterclasses, these are for you. We're here to provide value to you as a seller. There's absolutely nothing being sold here. So just pay attention, and every speaker is going to bring value. But creative cloning is what the biggest physical products brands all over the world use to grow their sales. Seth and I have simply been able to apply that successfully to our Amazon private label business, and it's created more sales than any other strategy that I can talk about. And the crazy part, you've probably never seen anything like this before. But this simple strategy has taken a $30,000 per month product, which is a pretty decent product, and turned that into a $300,000 per month cash cow. We've been able to apply this to 53 of our own brand, let alone handfuls of sellers that I've shared this with recently. We've been using this exact process, my friends, to dramatically increase our sales on more than 1,000 unique Amazon private label products. And the funny part is, it's worked 100% of the time. Yes, it really is that powerful. I've used this exact concept to 10x my sales many, many times. Just look at our month over month growth that we've achieved with this strategy. This will work in any category. It really is that good. So let's look at an example. For most Amazon sellers, this is what you do. You do a bunch of product research, you find a good manufacturer, design your packaging, you do your keyword research, you build an amazing listing, and it starts to sell. Congratulations. You've discovered an opportunity that's profitable, and all of your hard work's paying off. But this doesn't happen every time you launch a new product, does it? Because sometimes products don't sell, or sometimes, even worse, products sell, but they're not profitable. But when the stars align and you have the right product at the right time in the right place, this is where huge sellers make a huge mistake, though, because after you have this amazing, successful product, what do you do once you have that product selling on Amazon? Just type into the question box there. Once you have an amazing product selling, what's the first thing do? Do you go take a vacation? Do you list the business for sale? Do you build an email list? Do you start looking for another product? What are most of you doing? Seth, what are we seeing?
Yeah, let me see here. Alex says get more products. Susan says make sure to have enough inventory.
Yep, that's what we see.
Look for
most
new
of you,
similar products. Yep, go ahead.
yes, that's what I'm talking about. What you're doing after you have this successful product launched is you're going out and you're starting all over again, looking for another new product that might be a big success for you. But this is where I say you're 100% wrong. What you should do is clone your success. Now pay close attention here, because when you get this right, you will make a lot more money. So let me ask you, to create the most highly optimized listing, Where should you start? You start with your offer. You start with the offer, and specifically, you start with what we call a mafia offer. Now, if you've read my book, Private Label Millionaire Secrets, then you know that Seth and I spend a lot of time talking about how to create a mafia offer because it's very important. And this is just a quick overview of what mafia, it's actually an acronym. It stands for M, make it obvious. What are you selling? A, add all the relevant search terms. F, focus on one avatar. That is, who are you creating this listing or this offer for? I is include all the best benefits, like how is this going to change my life for the better? And then we like to use an alliteration when we come up with the actual name of the product, hence the name Post Purchase Pro. That's an alliteration, right? But a mafia offer is an offer that your customers simply can't refuse. It has to be an overwhelming amount of value, and it must speak directly to one particular customer avatar that truly understands that value. This means that the offer is designed to specifically speak to only one of the customer types in your sub niche. And don't worry, I'm going to show you some examples. But what's the problem? The problem is Amazon has most of us sellers confused, and we believe that just one listing has to serve all customers. But let me ask you a quick question. If you had been invited to a workshop today for e-commerce sellers, would you be here right now? Well, maybe. But even if the rest of the offer was exactly the same, but it was uniquely positioned for e-commerce sellers, you probably would not view today's web masterclass as nearly as valuable, right? But that's only for you, because making this workshop or this masterclass designed for e-commerce sellers is just too broad, and it's not nearly as compelling to you as an Amazon seller, is it? And this is the exact same problem that most listings have on Amazon. The fact that this is an Amazon seller's masterclass makes it valuable to you. So let's think about this when we apply this to Amazon. In Amazon, your listing, you're trying to speak to everyone with the exact same language. So let me show you how you can use this concept to 10x your sales on Amazon. Did you realize that as the brand owner, you can do what we call clone your listings and have each listing speak directly to one particular type of customer at a time? We call the process creative cloning. Now I'm going to show you how you can clone your listings using the exact same inventory that you already have, right? To make a lot more sales all within the same brand. Yes, I said use the same inventory. And the reason I say that is because this comes up every single time we talk about it. They're like, but wait, I have to go buy more stock. No, you're using your existing stock, even if it's already at Amazon. Are you with me on that? Okay. So what you're able to do is narrow your market to a sub niche within the new listing. And when you do that, you're going to earn a lot more profit because you can usually charge a lot more and have less competition. Now think about how brands that are selling marine grade products for boaters, they're able to charge 2 to 3 times more for the exact same product. Here's how it works. When you apply this concept to your private label business, you're going to make more money because you only need to present your offer to those that are most likely to convert. If you only target those who are most likely to convert, then you'll be able to charge more, increase your conversions, spend less on advertising, and make more money. Never forget, though, that you're not in business on Amazon to make sales. You're in business to do what? To make profits. Revenue is vanity, my friend. Profit is sanity, and cash is king. This will allow you to create a mafia offer targeting your specific sub niche with messaging that's perfectly targeted to attract your ideal customers. Now let's take a look at an example. Tylenol. Now maybe Tylenol is not sold in your home country, but here in the US, Tylenol is a pretty popular brand of over-the-counter pain relief. All right. You can see that Tylenol has been using creative cloning for a long time. They're positioning their product to appeal to different types of customers with their language and messaging. But at the end of the day, no matter if Tylenol is positioned for muscle pain or a headache or fever, it's still just 500 milligrams of acetaminophen. But their actual product, it's always the same, right? Tylenol using this strategy gets to take up more shelf space. In our case, that's called search term result space. Now, when they do this, they're better able to serve their customers by calling out specific customers with each positioning. Does this make sense so far? If you were to have a backache and Tylenol had Tylenol backache extra strength, it makes more sense to you than Tylenol fever reducer, right? That's creative cloning. What we need to do is identify exactly who you need to be speaking to, and equally as important, the language patterns that you should be using. You should always look to see if there's a sub niche where you can narrow your focus and more specifically target a single type of customer. So let's say that you walk into a drugstore or a pharmacy with a migraine headache. You may be attracted to this product, which is Tylenol migraine, right? But did you realize that Tylenol is the same whether it's marketed for migraines or not? Tylenol has simply cloned their success and added to their store shelf space to capture more market share with unique packaging and positioning. And that's all we're doing. That's what we're doing on Amazon. You see, look at the ingredients of both of these products. They're both just 500 milligrams of acetaminophen. It doesn't matter. The packaging speaks directly to the end user. So if you were to sell razors, for example, disposable razors, there are several ways you can position this exact same product. Maybe it's for shaving bikini lines, ladies shaving legs, guys shaving their face, or underarms. At the end of the day, it's just a razor, but it's positioned to speak uniquely to that segment of the market. Does that make sense? Now, here's a real life example of how you can literally 15x more money, right? How would you like to make 15 times the sales that you're making right now simply by niching down in the exact same product? When Seth and I first discovered this trick, it changed everything. And we launched and sold memory foam pillows. But when we sold our memory foam pillows, if we were to sell a normal memory foam pillow without targeting any specific sub niche, then we'd just get normal bed pillow prices. Now take a wild guess. How much do you think a normal memory foam bed pillow would sell for? Well, some say $10, $15, $20. For us, it was about $20. When our pillow, though, targeted a more specific buyer, we could increase the price. So we did, and the results were remarkable. But if we continue on our niching down journey and rename the product to threaded memory foam pillow for stomach and back sleepers, we know that a chronic snorer or a side sleeper would perceive more value out of this product, and therefore we were able to quickly increase our price double to $39.99. Now we're already at 2 times the price, but we can do better. Imagine if you're suffering from terrible neck or shoulder pain, and we offered you a hypoallergenic, bamboo-covered shredded memory foam pillow designed for shoulder and neck pain relief at a price of $104. Would it be possible that you would consider paying that much? Yes, and we've done it. You most likely would too, because we've spoken directly to your specific sub-niche or your pain, shoulder and neck pain. So our product has a much higher perceived value versus a regular bed pillow and quickly becomes your obvious choice. Are you sold yet? Well, just for a dramatic demonstration, let's say, God forbid, you just had surgery and your doctor instructed you to go out and buy a medical grade, hypoallergenic, adjustable shredded memory foam pillow designed for post-surgery support. You would eagerly fork over $180 to get that pillow, wouldn't you? Besides, the doctor ordered it. Simply changing who you're targeting with your product can dramatically impact how much you're able to charge. This is literally a page out of our book where we sold the exact same pillow to several different customer avatars, and we're able to increase our price from $20 to $299. That's a 15x. The idea here is that you can leverage the experience that you already have from your existing successful Amazon listing and clone your success. It allows you to grab more exposure on page 1 search results, command more traffic from Amazon buyers, and capture more sales. Usually, you will literally double on your very first try. So that's how we do it on Q&A while I take a drink.
Yeah, some some really great questions and commentary here. So, um, well, I think we'll just touch them all in the end because I know you're going to go through it. But Michael says this reminds him of an OG Frank Kern strategy, and he's in love with it, where you basically break out the customer avatars into different segments and target them individually. So tons of good
Love
questions,
Frank
but I
Kern.
think we'll just hang on to them until 5 or 10 minutes when you get finished.
Sounds good. Thank you. Yeah, I have to take a drink once in a while. You got me on the road doing all these events, and then you call me and have me do virtual events. This old man can only handle so much, and I think you can tell my voice
You're
is
in
struggling.
demand, Sean.
So, well, thank you. Makes me feel a little bit better, but I still can't talk. Sound how scratchy. You can hear how scratchy I sound, right? So, all you have to do once you double your sales is repeat this process until you've dominated your category. So you already know, or you should know, that you're only capturing a small percentage of the market for your product. Your competitors on Amazon are getting the rest. But when you implement this correctly, you can quickly capture all of the lion's share of the sales for your category. And Seth and I have been using this since 2014 with massive success. Although the idea, it's easy for me to show you, it's very difficult to learn. So I want you to pay attention and try to grasp this the first time, because when you do, this simple but powerful strategy, you're able to double, triple, quadruple, 10x, 15x your sales. All you're really doing, don't overthink it, is you're repositioning some of your exact same product to appeal to a unique segment of your market. So let's say that your type of product, whether you're selling fly swatters, wagon wheels, pump handles, or whatever, your product is producing 1,000 sales per day on Amazon. And this is across all sellers, all brands, all listings. But your listing is capturing just 100 of these orders, or let's call it 10%, just for easy math. If you had another successful listing that could also grab 100 orders per day, then you double your sales, right? We've repeated this process up to 7 times with similar results. Those other listings out there are grabbing the other 900 orders, 90% of the orders, or whatever percent you're not grabbing. Why shouldn't that be you? You have the power as a private label brand owner because you get to decide what is considered a new product simply by relabeling it with a different UPC. So think about this. Amazon doesn't question Nike or Adidas or Reebok when they release a new shoe. They just scan that inventory into a new listing. So let me show you a hack that you can use for finding sub niches on Amazon for your product. Let's say you're selling crayons. If you simply go to Amazon, type in crayons for, you'll get all kinds of ideas. Pillows for sleeping, kids, stomach sleeper, couches, sofas, a pizza cutter for, all right, a lamp for living room, bedroom, desk, nightstand, vitamin C, supplements for dogs, for men, for women, for anxiety, for leg cramps, a hairbrush for men, curly hair, thick hair, women, blow drying, fine hair, dogs. You get the idea, right? A jump rope for, a dog leash for. Using dog leash, let's highlight this one, a dog leash for large dogs. This is interesting. So let's say you're selling a dog leash or a dog collar. This should get your attention, a dog leash for large dogs. So let's say that you're selling dog leashes and things are going well, but your listing is ranked for dog leash. But what if your customer is searching for a dog leash for her German Shepherd? Which one will she buy? Will she take this dog leash for $9.99? Or this dog leash, which obviously is a good fit for a German Shepherd, selling for $15.99? Obviously, she's going to take the one that makes the most sense for her particular dog breed because she sees that it's positioned to already work well with a German Shepherd. She can just be lazy and purchase the dog leash that obviously fits her particular breed. And yes, she's willing to pay about 60% more for that. What you want to do is capture more shelf space, just like Tylenol does with its positioning. Yeah, there's a Yorkshire Terrier dog leash. You can do a Collie dog leash, a Pit Bull, a Golden Retriever, Black Lab. The sky's the limit here. All you need to do is be creative. And the reason this works is because it speaks directly to one customer at a time and allows you to charge more, convert higher, rank better, make more money, and take up more Amazon real estate. That is space on the page. But we can make this even more powerful. We can clone any already successful listing with slight repositioning and rank for the exact same keywords. For example, with our pillows, we had 8 listings on page 1 for the keyword bamboo pillow. But when we launched our bamboo pillow business, we quickly got to about 30,000 per month, but then our sales stalled. This is what our business looked like. We sell bamboo pillows, we target everyone, we make a few sales. Okay? Not too bad. But we wanted to grow, so we tried all of the common growth approaches. We tried spending more on ads, rebate campaigns, split testing our copy and our images. But at the end, we were stuck at 30K per month. Have you ever felt like this? Well, here's what our pillow business looked like after creative cloning. After creative cloning, we were able to sell side sleepers, back sleepers, stomach sleepers, and then we were able to sub-niche down and create unique listings for each one of these niches, creating more and more sales. This is like fishing. If you just like fishing, you just throw your pole in the water and you wait. But if you like catching fish, you put as many pieces of bait in the water as you can, right? That's why our sales went from 30,000 per month to over 3,000 per month. And then we were able to sell that business. We 10x'd our sales, and all we had to do was simply resticker some of the inventory with a new UPC barcode. We changed our images, changed the bullets, right? And we were able to speak directly to the customers drawn to certain language patterns or sleeping styles. This is cloning. This was easy because we were able to use the exact same inventory, and we already had that inventory on hand. We already knew all the best keywords, so we targeted the same keywords with our listing, and this was all within the same brand. Why does it work? It's like shooting with a rifle with laser targeting to your avatar versus a shotgun. You know, it's like casting a net, but shooting that target with a laser. This allows you to target your buyers with laser accuracy. And we've used this on numerous products, not just the pillow. Mina, you're looking as handsome as ever, but you're first right after me, buddy. I'm taking up your initial slot. You had a technical snafu, I heard. The reason is because every position in Amazon results, right? Amazon search results are worth a certain percentage of sales for that niche. But for our pillow business, we had 8 listings on page 1 for the search term bamboo pillow. Now you can only capture so much market share by having one listing. You know that, right? But as you add different listings that position the product differently, you'll capture more of the search results page, and therefore you'll end up with a lot more sales. Pretty powerful, right? But is this against terms of service? No. As the brand owner, you decide what is a different product simply by assigning a new UPC. Look at these 2 different shoes from Nike. They look exactly the same, right? But they're priced differently and they're uniquely positioned. Amazon's not opening the boxes to these products and saying these look too similar. They're simply recognize it as a new product because Nike assigned it a new UPC. And the same applies to your business. While a lot of you may be out there thinking to yourselves, if I create another listing selling the same product, am I competing against myself? Well, you're not really competing in the way that you think. When it comes to competing with yourself, think about this. Your competition's competing with you every day. Why not hold an extra position and compete with yourself, but capture a lot more sales? Nike knows that taking up more shelf space in a shoe store is going to net them more sales, even though the shoes look similar. Tylenol also knows that the more options they have on the shelf, the more chances to grab a buyer's attention for specific needs. Most Amazon sellers completely miss this opportunity, even though it's one of the biggest opportunities that's literally sitting right in front of you on your screen. Think about this. You've already done the research. You have a supplier. You know the keywords. You already have photos and you have great packaging. You know exactly how to launch your product. Just copy what you already know and double your business. Here's a quick action list. You need to decide which product to try this on. Find out who's buying your product and why. and identify at least 5 sub-niche targets for your product. So let's say you're selling crowns. You can sell crowns for preschool teachers, for stay-at-home moms, for daycare operators, for restaurants, or for any other sub-niche. So first thing to do, identify 5 opportunities that you can use to niche down. Create duplicated listings targeting your sub-niches. Write in a language and a tone that makes sense for that avatar. Like, for example, you want to call them out specifically inside your title. If you speak to his or her specific need or interest in your description, then you're calling them out specifically, right? In fact, show their problem solved in your images and then re-sticker some of your inventory. So here are your steps. Use Amazon search autofill that I showed you earlier to find a sub-niche. Scroll down your listing and look at the buy it with section to see what they're buying. Or if you have a list, simply ask your customers what else they're purchasing. Post in your social channels, asking for new product ideas for your brand, and then do some research on your target market for trends on Google. Follow other similar brands on Amazon to see what they're doing. Step 2, create duplicated listings targeting your sub-niches. Now, this is where you get a little bit confused, but we're going to have Q&A here in just a moment. You're creating listings one by one that speak to a particular sub-niche and optimize them accordingly. Be sure to change the images, the titles, and descriptions to be congruent with your product's positioning. Remember, you're selling the exact same product. Yes, the same brand, the same packaging, but you're doing it with a different position in the market. For example, you can sell marine grade, industrial, restaurant quality, kid-friendly, senior-friendly, travel safe. Next thing you want to do is make sure that you write in a language and a tone that makes sense for your particular customer avatar. Remember, you have to speak differently so that they will feel more understood. Example, housewives versus young mothers. This is similar, but you speak differently. You're going to want to adopt any known nomenclature that's relevant to that niche, and then try to answer the questions that they're already asking themselves. Like, for example, I wonder if this is dishwasher safe. 4th step, call them out specifically. You have to speak to them. Instead of just saying, hey, you, what if I said, hey, you, Mina Elias? Well, if your name was Mina Elias, you'd probably listen up like Mina is right now. Here's an example. Kids safe, great for young mothers, senior-friendly mobile phone, German Shepherd dog leash, perfect for get creative and make sure you split test these things so that you know what's working. 5th step, remember we have to speak to his or her specific need or interest in your description. Like, this dog leash works perfect for a German Shepherd, or these are diabetic friendly socks with no seams, or Chicago style pizza cutter, not New York style. Boater's dream come true, marine grade beanbag chair. Step 6, you have to show the problem solved with your images. So your image should answer the question that the prospect's already asking themselves. Show your product being used by someone who looks like your avatar, like a young mother with her infant opening a jar of pickles. Young mother's ideal jar opener. Show a mariner sitting in a beanbag chair on his yacht. You get the idea, right? Finally, you have to re-sticker some of your inventory. You'll simply place a new sticker or have 3PL, put that new UPC sticker over top your existing UPC code, and then send it to Amazon or to your 3PL for merchant fulfillment. Don't try to have Amazon resticker this for you because it'll just confuse them and they'll check the inventory into an old listing. Now, for some extra credit, you're going to want to clone your already optimized and successful listing like we did with the pillows. So if you have a product you launch that's already going well, the easiest way to apply this strategy is to clone exactly what you did the first time, but with slightly different positioning. You can target all of the same keywords and take advantage of the gap in the market that you've discovered. Just follow the example that I showed you with our bamboo pillow. Now, when should you not use creative cloning? Well, when you don't like the result that you're already getting. People always ask us this question, and the answer is simple. Don't create more of a bad situation. You only want to create more of something that's already working well, because the only thing worse than working in the wrong direction is working in the wrong direction enthusiastically, of course. So This is only one of the 4 core strategies that Seth and I use to get to over 1 million per month within the first year and a half. So if you've been enjoying this limited time with me today, then you're going to love checking out our other 3 core pillars of success, because honestly, they're my best kept secrets. It's impossible to show you everything you need to know in 30 minutes. And I typically don't share these strategies publicly. So please don't share the upcoming information with anyone outside of this Zoom call. Can you live with that? In fact, Seth, I want to remove these next few slides from the recording. That way, what I'm about to share is only shared with those who are here live today. So grab your phones. Yep, your smartphone sitting next to you there. Get your phone out, because next week I'm having a private invitational only Zoom call. It's already planned. And since you're here today at the MasterClass, I want to give you exclusive access and the invitation to join me in a 60-minute deep dive into my other 3 best kept secrets. Okay. You and only you are invited. It's not going to be recorded. So don't post this on Facebook. You've already agreed to only share it with those here live. Okay. This expose, you're never going to get an opportunity to see it again. So don't just think, oh, I'll just wait and ask for it later. The answer is no. If you go to Sean'sTopSecrets.com right now or scan this QR code, you'll get access to this exclusive, invitation only, very time sensitive webinar that I'm having next week. I'm going to do a live walkthrough with numbered SOPs that you can walk away with to implement some of these strategies. Right now, today, go to Sean'sTopSecrets.com or scan the QR code, because it's the only opportunity that you're ever going to get to see this in action. And then once you register for this webinar, I'll go ahead and send you a PDF copy by email of my latest 2 books, Private Label Millionaire Secrets, and additionally, How I Sold $62,730,000 on Amazon. It's going to take me 60 minutes to go through this, so make sure you have that time in your calendar. 60 minutes. We've documented our entire journey in these books, and these are yours free just for registering at Sean'sTopSecrets.com. So my name is Sean Hart. Thank you for letting me entertain you today as I'm on the road traveling. I'll see some of you in Miami. Check the chat box. If you haven't yet, there's a link where you can get a free ticket using that code. You get a free ticket to that seller session that we're doing live with the Fast and the Scale Series and Scale for Retail in Miami tomorrow afternoon. Seth?
Yeah, so had several great questions. I think I handled them all, but just to kind of wrap it up in one little neat bow, and then we'll move on to Mina's presentation, is that if you clone your existing products in the niche that you're already in, typically that will double your sales. Because as an example, when Sean was talking through the bamboo pillow situation, when we were stuck at $30,000 per month with one listing, we couldn't grow because we couldn't rank for the really competitive keywords like pillow or memory foam pillow. So where we had an opportunity was in this very limited space, this little tiny niche of bamboo pillows on Amazon. So we created a cloned listing that only ranked for the search term bamboo pillow and bamboo pillows. And the second listing also did an extra $30,000 in sales. So we went from $30,000 per month to $60,000 per month. So we did it a third time. We went to $90,000 per month. We did it a fourth time, went to $120,000 per month. Long story short, we did the exact same process and got up to $300,000 per month. We did it 10 times. So people were asking like, oh, is it going to cannibalize my original sales? And the answer is no. And if you think about it, every single spot in Amazon search results is worth some dollar amount because those competitors are already capturing that as well. So it might as well be you. And then Sean shared how we actually use this strategy and accelerate it by niching down and finding a sub-market. So, take the bamboo pillow concept and say, okay, a bamboo pillow for neck pain. It'll have smaller search volume, but it's easier to rank for, and you can dominate that tiny little sub-niche. And then if you find traction there, say if it only makes 5 sales a day, but if you can have 10 listings on page 1 for bamboo pillow for neck pain, you can have 50 sales a day coming in from 10 different listings in that little sub-niche. So just wanted to kind of recap there for everybody, but we do need to stay on schedule. So I want to go ahead and bring up Mina. Let's see if we can get Mina activated here. So guys, thanks so much for all the wonderful commentary and feedback in the chat box so far. This has been a lot of fun. I know that Zoom is giving us a little bit of an issue with getting logged in here. So You guys were persistent to get in here today, so you're gonna be rewarded. So Mina, if you don't mind, go ahead and take over, my friend, and let's get this thing moved on.
Well,
I'm
Mina,
here. I'm ready to go. I just can't open my camera. Are we doing no camera?
you can do camera.
Okay, it won't let me.
Oh,
So
maybe there you go.
there we go.
I didn't do a camera, buddy, because I'm laying around my hotel room waiting on a flight. But you're good to go.
It's okay. I'm here.
I'll jump on
I'm
camera
here.
with you, Mina.
All right, perfect. So thank you guys for having me. I'm excited. This was some really good stuff you guys dropped. It got me thinking, how I can apply some of this stuff. This is cool stuff, man. This is really cool stuff. It's like stuff you don't really hear, because we go to every single conference, and so this is cool. I'm glad you guys are sharing. So my topic is basically leveraging Amazon DSP to scale your sales. I don't think there's a lot of education out there on Amazon DSP, demand side platform. So I want to kind of really uncover it. Like I have a seat, so I don't use another platform or whatever, like program ads or something like that, or BidX to run the DSP. I get access. I can see everything in the back end. So I want to show everyone what it looks like. I want to explain why you should use DSP, when it's good for you, when it's not good for you, the funnels that we build, and then show you how we doubled a brand's revenue from 800K to 1.6 million a month in revenue by utilizing DSP effectively. It's not, I mean, let's jump in, right? I'm gonna start sharing my screen so we could get into this. So can you guys see? Screen is good?
You're all good, Mina. Your first question's already here. What is Amazon DSP? So go ahead.
I love it. What is Amazon DSP? So Amazon DSP, I probably have a slide in here, but I'll explain it quickly. Amazon DSP is Amazon's demand side platform. It is basically, a way to run programmatic ads on Amazon, meaning that you can basically utilize different audiences that Amazon provides, like people who purchased your product, people who purchased your competitors' products, people who viewed your product, demographic targeting, people of a certain age or demographic. You can do audience targeting, so people who are in the market for nutritional products or in the market for mushroom supplements, whatever, in the market for anything, and utilize Amazon's audience. So now you have an audience, and then you have like placements, right? And the placements can be on Amazon, which is like Amazon's desktop, Amazon's mobile app, and then Amazon's mobile web, like if you're on Chrome and then you log into Amazon.com. And there's also Amazon also owns IMDb, so you can advertise there, or you can advertise off Amazon third-party publisher sites. So think like sites like Men's Health and stuff like that, that their content sites, their whole job is to bring as many people to like their sites as possible, and then sell ad space. It's called like native advertising or programmatic. So that's basically DSP. So with DSP, what we do is we have our products on Amazon, and we can either create custom creatives, or we just tell Amazon pull from the listing creative. So it pulls the image, the title, the reviews, stuff like that. And then we tell it where to advertise and who to advertise to. And it's really cool because you can never do, like, I think the most powerful thing is the audience targeting, which I'm going to talk about. So I can advertise to people who have purchased my product in the last 365 days, but haven't purchased from me or haven't purchased from my competitors in the last 90 days. So they bought a supplement from me, an electrolyte powder, but they haven't repurchased, and they haven't purchased from my competitors, which means they ran out and they need more. So, hey, I'm reminding you, remember this product that you bought 3 months ago, 6 months ago, whatever, you haven't repurchased it. Maybe it's time to buy mine again. So let's dive in. Let's see here. Oh, yeah. So who am I? My name is Mina. I was a chemical engineer in my past life. 2014, I graduated, worked corporate 9 to 5. Worked up the corporate ladder, started a supplement brand. Hard Work is the brand name. It's MMA Nutrition is the company name. Grew that and scaled it to 7 figures. I also started sharing a lot of advertising knowledge that I learned by wasting hundreds of thousands of dollars on, MMA Nutrition, learning this stuff. Created PPC University. And then in early 2021, I started an Amazon advertising agency due to the very high demand that people were asking me for at least a year. I think since like 2020, people were asking me to start an agency. I didn't want to. I wanted to focus on my brand, but the demand was too high, and I was doing a really good job, and I figured this is probably a better use of my time because I'm able to impact a lot more people. So what is Amazon DSP? I explained it. DSP stands for Demand Side Platform. You programmatically buy ads on and off of Amazon by targeting relevant audiences. There's like display, there's video, and then there's also audio. We really don't use audio a lot. There's also Twitch streaming and like that kind of stuff. And I usually like stay away from Twitch because I mean you can if you're like a massive brand and you don't care about ROAS. So Amazon sponsored ads versus DSP. So Amazon PPC captures demand. So you have keywords like that people search on Amazon and your product shows up for those keywords. You also have products like people click on a product, they're shopping, and you show up under that product in that listing. That's mainly Amazon PPC. Sponsored brand is similar. Sponsored display targets audiences, right? But it's very limited to the data that it has on the audience. It's not as good as Amazon DSP. And it's the most high intent, right? So it's people are directly in the market. They're looking to buy something. So I think Amazon PPC is probably like going to be your highest return on investment. If you're wondering, should I run DSP? If your PPC is still not maxed out or not like at least in a good spot, I would focus more on PPC. You're going to have a better return on investment there. Amazon DSP is really good to, retarget customers because you can get audiences. So you can say, okay, everyone who's purchased from me in the past, or everyone who's viewed my product but hasn't purchased from me or my competitors, or everyone who's purchased product A but has not purchased product B from me or product B's competitors. Let's show them product B, things like that. So that's where Amazon DSP really shines. You can send traffic, to Amazon or like to third-party publisher sites, like I said. You pay per impression, so it's slightly a little bit different. And one of the things that I really like about Amazon DSP is that you can drive new to brand. So what I mean by that is when you are on Amazon, people are searching a search term, and then they look at your product and they view it. And so that's someone who already kind of knows your brand. With Amazon DSP, you can target everyone who's viewed other people's products but hasn't purchased from them or hasn't even viewed you. So you can really grow your audience. It's a very good top of funnel. You start driving people to your top of funnel, and then you start retargeting them with DSP. So DSP is the only place that you can on Amazon that you can actually create a funnel. Amazon PPC, you can't. It's just, someone's looking for a keyword, you show up. Someone's looking at a product, you show up. Other than that, that's all you can do. Better together, PPC and DSP together are very synergistic. PPC will drive a lot of traffic to your listing. DSP can then retarget that traffic. If someone's purchased from you once, DSP can bring them back to purchase again. Also DSP can feed your top of funnel, so it can go after audiences that haven't yet touched your listing and go after them. So that's why PPC and DSP together are very powerful. When do you want to consider Amazon DSP? So once you feel like you've maximized your sponsored product ads, so you already built out all of your campaigns, you're already targeting all of your, all of the keywords, all of the product targeting, all of that stuff. You also want to have a really good, or at least a profitable conversion rate. So if your PPC is not working, your DSP is not going to work. Usually what I see from all the accounts that we manage, we have 140 something brands right now, so we have a lot of data. We see that the DSP ROAS is about 0.75 of PPC. So if you have a 4x on Amazon PPC, you're going to have a 3x on Amazon DSP. So with that being said, it's not bad, right? It's not going to be as warm as the PPC traffic, but it can significantly grow your revenue, right? And that's the power of it. Now, if you're looking at the segments like retargeting, loyalty and retargeting, so people who've purchased from you in the past but haven't repurchased, or people who have viewed but haven't purchased, that segment is going to be like a 10x ROAS or 8x ROAS. It's going to be an amazing ROAS. But then once you start blending in competitor targeting, complementary product targeting in market, so you start going after other audiences to build, because that retargeting pool is going to dry up eventually. So you want to kind of keep building the top of funnel stuff. That's where the blended together is usually 75% of PPC. So if you're looking to grow, if you have your PPCs working already and it's doing well, if your conversion rate is fine, that's the time you want to consider Amazon DSP. However, I also think that you can consider a low form of DSP very early on. So let's say you're doing 60 or 70 or $80,000 in revenue on Amazon. You can start running Amazon DSP in terms of loyalty, which is bringing back people who've purchased from you, cross-selling, so cross-selling your other products, and then retargeting people who viewed but haven't purchased from you or your competitors. You can run that right from the beginning. It's going to be very high ROAS, so it's definitely going to help. You don't have to be that large. You don't have to have maximized your PPC. The only thing that you should consider is it going to make sense from an investment standpoint? So it's probably going to cost us as a management fee, as an agency, $2,500. And then let's say you put in like, another $2,500 in ad spend. So that's $5,000. So you want somewhere like a $20,000 return for it to make sense. So if you can't spend $2,500, if you're going to spend like only $1,000, and out of that $1,000, you're going to make, let's say, $5,000 in revenue. So you would be spending, $3,500 to make $5,000. It's not really worth it. So that's where, the consideration becomes, is it worth it because I have to pay a management fee? But, can you start running DSP early on? Yes, for those very low, very warm funnel segments. However, if you haven't maximized your PPC, probably invest your dollars there first, maximize your PPC, and then, move on to DSP. Accessing Amazon DSP, Amazon, you can use Amazon Managed Services. I do not recommend using Amazon for anything. They suck at everything. And they're incentivized to make you spend more money. So I don't know why they would even care about driving revenue. And then self-service, this is where you need to use an agency because you'll have, agencies have a seat. I don't know why they restrict it like that. But basically I had to prove that I was going to spend $100,000 a month. We spend right now like maybe $600,000 a month on DSP, but I had to prove that I was going to spend $100,000 a month for them to even consider me for the application. And then I had to pull a ton of strings for them to give it to me. So they make it very hard, but you can get it through an agency. A lot of agencies have DSP. Advantages. I think the best advantages are building out the funnel, having that retargeting and things like that, but also increasing discoverability, which basically means you can go after audiences that would have never made it to your page. So let's say, you're running PPC. There's a certain number of people that are never going to make it to your listing, that are never going to click on it. You can find every single competitor's audience, exclude anyone who's purchased from those competitors because they're used, they're done, they already purchased, and then exclude everyone who's visited you and get a fresh list of audience that you can drive to your listing, people who've never heard of you, never clicked on you, never seen you. So yeah, these are the different types of audiences that we go after, right? So we can go after ASINs. So in this case, we can go after people who viewed an ASIN or people who've purchased an ASIN. So when we talk about loyalty, we talk about people who've purchased our ASIN but haven't repurchased from us. When we talk about retargeting, people who viewed our ASIN but haven't purchased from us or competitors. When we talk about competitor targeting, people who have viewed competitors' ASINs but haven't purchased from them or us or any competitor. When we talk about cross-targeting, that's where people who have purchased one of our ASINs but haven't purchased a complementary or an upsell ASIN from us or our competitors. When we talk about complementary product targeting, it's people who've purchased complementary products but have not purchased our ASIN or our competitors' ASINs. So that's all ASIN targeting. Then you go into in-market. So people who are based on Amazon's definition, in the market for specific type of product. This is, through search behavior. Amazon has that data. And again, this is all Amazon first-party data. Then we have lifestyle. So based on someone's lifestyle, there's someone who buys a lot of fitness and health stuff. Their lifestyle matches. Then you have demographic, is based on like, people who buy your product have certain demographics. And then Amazon can say, okay, we're going to find everyone else who's in a similar demographic. And then contextual. And again, these are very broad, like demographic and sexual lifestyle, very broad. I would not recommend that we go there until we've really maxed out everything that we can do on loyalty, retargeting, cross-selling, competitor targeting, complementary product targeting, and in-market. There's also audience overlap reports, which tell us based on people who've purchased our product, that audience intersects with what other product. So we can go after, let's say everyone who's buying a pre-workout, it also usually buys like amino acids. And they could say there's a 70% audience overlap. So if we target everyone who's buying amino acids, there's a very high chance they're also going to buy pre-workout, something like that. Like I said, audience insights. Amazon offers a lot of audience insights for DSP, which we can, utilize when we're going after new audiences. So this is kind of the way that we build the funnel, right? At the bottom is like the purchase, which is people who've purchased in the past. Above it is purchase intent, people who have viewed but haven't purchased. Above it is consideration, people who, are considering different products. And then awareness is really at the top, which is, kind of like lifestyle, in market, things like that. People we're not really sure are going to buy the product, but if they do show interest and click, we start retargeting them because now they viewed the product. This is what I was talking about. You can target on and off Amazon. So Amazon.com and IMDb are Amazon owned platforms. And then there's some Amazon publisher sites, and then there's third-party publisher sites like SpotX, Brightroll by Yahoo, shit like that. This is just all content sites. They drive a lot of traffic and they sell advertising space. So let's do a walkthrough, right? Let's do the walkthrough of the actual platform. So you have an order at the top. Think of an order as a campaign, but instead of thinking of a campaign as the way that we do it on Amazon, a campaign is just a goal. So if we're doing like loyalty, that will be an order. So our order will be, loyalty for one product. And inside of that, we can have multiple line items, which is, you can think of them almost as like ad groups. But the thing is, in here, your line items can have their own budget, okay? Versus you can't have ad set budgets on Amazon, on PPC. Or ad group budgets. So you have an order, which is like your main, campaign with a goal, like let's say retargeting. Under it, you have the line items, and I like to segment the line items by where we are advertising. So, is it desktop, mobile? Is it web app? Is it desktop? Mobile web, mobile app, or is desktop? And are we targeting on or off Amazon? So if I have these three like, mobile web, mobile app, and desktop, and then I have on Amazon, off Amazon, that would be 6. But right now I stick to doing everything only on Amazon because I haven't seen great returns off of Amazon. And then inside the line item will have the creatives attached to it and the audience attached to it. So of course, I try and keep the audiences consistent when I'm testing them. And then if I notice that a certain audience is performing better than another audience, then I'll maybe double down on that audience, put more budget there, cut budget from another audience. And then the creatives right now, what I'm seeing works the best is using responsive e-commerce, which means instead of having all these custom creatives, I just pull the creatives right from the Amazon listing. So this is kind of what it looks like on an order level. So you can see retargeting, 5 Defender. 5 Defender is the name of the product. Rishi, loyalty, cordyceps, in market, 5 Defender. So that's how, I kind of like layer the orders. The order is basically the product name, and then what's the goal for what is the goal? Like, is it loyalty? Is it retargeting? Is it competitor targeting? And you can see here, like, the budgets that we give each order, the total cost, number of impressions and click-throughs and all of that stuff. And then we have the ad placement. So this is where I'm saying like the mobile web, mobile app, desktop, and then where is it happening? Is it Amazon owned and operated, or is it publisher sites? Like I said, I separate desktop and mobile app and mobile web because they have different performance. Sometimes always mobile app I feel performs a lot better than mobile web, and sometimes desktop performs better than mobile app, depending on the product. It's strange. And I like to keep all of the advertising on Amazon.com, not even Amazon owned and operated, but just Amazon.com, not IMDb, not publisher sites, none of that stuff. Then we have the audiences, and these are basically like a list of audiences. You have in-market, demographic, interest, life event, lifestyle, device, all of this stuff, or then custom. Custom is where we usually do all of the work, right? That's the ASIN targeting. So you can create audiences, as many audiences as you want on DSP. So we'll create an audience for, let's say, like all the products in a certain price range. And then we can create audiences for all the products in a certain range with a certain number of reviews. We have the team do like ASIN, like competitor research, and they'll say, okay, here's all of the ASINs, and then we can group them by different, like, how they look. As long as an audience has at least 1,000 visitors or more a month to that audience, then you can target it. So you can say like, oh, like I'm going to target this one ASIN, and that's an audience if they're not even getting 1,000 people a month. So that's the minimum criteria is 1,000 people a month come, in that audience. But we like to stay granular with our audiences. They'll just be in different line items. So we'll have the orders, let's say like competitor targeting. And then in there, we have mobile web, mobile app, desktop, and we'll attach the different audiences to each three. So three will be, low cost products. The other one will be medium. The other three would be high, and so on. So we get granular, understand which audiences perform better. Creatives can be custom, or they can be responsive, or in this case like display e-commerce ads, which basically is like this. You see that no, not like this. If you go to Amazon and you see like any of the banner ads or anything on the side, it just pulls straight from the listing. So that's kind of and then this is like more of the custom stuff. You can also do video and streaming ads, which I have not seen good results with. So creating an order, you want to make sure that you have the right settings. Products that are sold on Amazon, the goal should be purchases, and the goal KPI total ROAS, because that's what matters. We don't set a target KPI, and we select automated optimization. We've seen that improves the results. And unfortunately, with an order, you can't just have a budget of like something a day. You have to have a budget per month, per like flight actually, which has a start and end date. So we'll usually set like a monthly budget, and we'll create a flight for every single month. And you have until the month starts for you to edit like the flight. So as you can see, because April hasn't ended yet, we can still adjust this. So I can, if the client calls me and is like, we want to double our spend, I'm like, okay, cool, let's double this to 4,400. You know what I mean? So that's the way that you build kind of budgets. It's through flights. And then we keep the budget cap uncapped. Agency fee here, by the way, keep that in mind, guys. There is a view where you can see like the agency fee. I can bake in like a 5 or a 10% agency fee, which basically means if you give me, as a client, you give me $30,000 as a budget to spend, it will spend the $30,000, but it will keep $3,000 for me, and it'll all look like it's part of the spend. So I can basically take $3,000 from you without you knowing, unless I show you the settings and I show you, here's your advertiser, you spent $30,000, and it says the total agency fee is 0, because you can't fake that. I mean, you can in Photoshop, right? But you can't fake that in a live view. So be aware of any agencies that are going to add an agency fee and just bake in like a 5 or 10% commission for themselves on top of what they're charging you. Then here, creating the order, you obviously have to add the ASINs attached to that order. And then frequency, this is an important one. Frequency is it talks about how many times your ad is going to show to someone. This is where you can play around. Like you can say show no more than like 10 times a day. And then if you start noticing performance is not good, you can scale it back down to 7 or 6 times a day. And usually you're trying to iterate for a sweet spot in frequency. I wanna show quickly. Let me see if I can get it. Yeah. Okay. So whenever you're see here, account level. Yeah. Whenever you're looking at ads, you want to look at your PPC in one section, your DSP in one section, and then your total combined. The reason is you'll notice that some things don't add up. Like, you know, it's 166 here, and it's the total revenue is 831. And then you look here that it's 23K, and it's saying that it's responsible for 50K of the revenue, or 48.8K of the revenue. When you add the numbers up, it doesn't seem to make sense. So I can't really rely on this data. But what I can do is I can see before DSP how we were doing, right? You know, we were only spending this, you know, 174, 819. After DSP, we're now at 190, 880, 218. So as you can see, we're scaling in revenue and the ROAS is staying steady. So if you're ever running DSP, you want to make sure that you show your PPC, your DSP, and the only thing that you can actually take to the bank is you add your DSP and your PPC spend, and you look at your total revenue and what your actual ROAS is. So you can't really rely accurately on what the DSP platform is going to show you. And there is a lot of tricks in the DSP platform that can basically take credit for a lot of like the PPC and organic sales to make it look like DSP is doing amazing. So also beware if an agency is like, oh, you know, you spent 20K and you made 100K, whatever, you know, 30K, you made 100K. Be like, okay, great. But like, let's compare before DSP. And if they're not doing the comparison for you, if not, they're showing you before DSP, you're doing this, after DSP, you're doing that. Like, here's the difference. Then you know something fishy is going on. But yeah, this is a brand that we're working with, and I'll tell you like their funnel build out, right? This is the last slide, but you can see like they started at 174K and spend 819K in sales. They're now at, you know, 353K and spend 30K in DSP and 1.6 million per month in sales. And this is only over the course of like what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 months. The first thing is we started in the first month by building loyalty and retargeting. So this is a supplement. People will repurchase again. So we started targeting everyone who's purchased from them in the past and hasn't purchased from them or their competitors in the last 30 days, last 60 days, to bring people back. And that was a very, very good ROAS. And that always kind of like it was a thing to like, it's almost like email marketing, right? Bringing people back. And then we went a step above, you know, in the second month, which was retargeting. So everyone who's viewed us but hasn't purchased from us or our competitors. So these are people in the market. They viewed our products, but they haven't purchased from anyone, from us or competitors. So they're still in the market. And just the retargeting has helped drive a lot of traffic. We ran that for a couple months. Then we started feeling things were like slowing down because we started, you know, kind of like we used up that audience. So we said we need to build a little bit more in the top of the funnel. So we added complementary and competitor products. So competitor products, we went after the other supplements that are a competitor to these supplements. People who have viewed from those people but haven't purchased from them or us, we started targeting them. So these are people in the market for other products, but they just never made it to our page. And then with complementary products is the same thing. People who bought complementary products, but they have not viewed our product or haven't purchased from our competitors. So again, they're still potentially in the market to buy our product. And just by adding those funnel segments and slowly increasing the budget, we were able to drive like a lot of traffic. to like the listing. A lot of new traffic, a lot of traffic they wouldn't have had. And the beautiful thing is, if they didn't make a purchase then and there, like they didn't click and be like, okay, I'm gonna buy it right now, we retargeted them and constantly like advertised in front of them until we brought them back. So this is kind of an ideal use case of like how we use DSP together with PPC. Of course, the brand was pretty strong from the beginning, right? They were doing 800K before we started DSP. But this kind of shows you, if you have a product that's doing well on Amazon already, DSP is like adding fuel to the fire. And when you have the audience targeting really segmented, really refined, when you have your placements, desktop, mobile app, mobile web, segmented, when you're targeting only on Amazon and not like in other placements that are losing money, when you're split testing the frequency, making sure you have the right frequency, all of these things combined drive like a ton of good results. So just that's it. One last thing I want to touch on is new to brand. As you can see, the sales that we generated, from DSP, 50%, in the first month, 50% or more was new to brand. 52, 53 were new to brand. We dropped down to about, in September, we were 40 something, and then we're in the mid 30s and kind of like leveled off in the mid 30s. So 30% of the purchases that were happening because of DSP were people that, were completely new to our brand, never viewed and never purchased those products before. So we're able to add on average 30% new people to the audience. And the beautiful thing is, because we have the loyalty funnel, everyone who's purchased will eventually be retargeted, later on, like, 60 days after, they're going to be retargeted. So if you guys want an audit on your DSP, or want to talk about DSP, or you're wondering if DSP is good or not good for you, you can email me, fill out an audit form, and I'll jump into some questions if we have some time.
Mina, really good stuff. We have several questions here for you. Let's see, the very first one that popped up.
Someone said, what is DSP? So I answered that one. And then It says, what is
Here
it?
you go. Mark says, can this be used for resellers or only for private label?
It can be used for anyone. It can be used for resellers as well, because we're actually, DSP is independent of you. So I can send traffic to any product. I can send traffic to a competitor's product. I just don't know why I would do that, right? But as a reseller, you can send traffic to any of your products. As long as you have the buy box, you're fine. It's the same with PPC. Ayman says, at which price point that paid ads on social media or Google become profitable? So does it make sense to use paid ads for a product that is less than $100 per unit at a profit margin of 20%? I don't know if that's a DSP question. I personally think that you should not pay attention to social media, Google, any of that stuff until you've really maximized what you can do on Amazon PPC, and then probably DSP, because that's going to be much higher return on your investment. We know a lot of brands that drive traffic PPC and Google and Facebook ads, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. PPC is always the highest return on investment. And then the only time like we see Facebook and Google ads and stuff like that do better is if you send them to your Shopify, and then you can start email marketing to them and bringing them back, because then the lifetime value is a lot higher. But besides that, PPC always wins. Shouldn't you combine PPC and DSP numbers to get a total tacos, not necessarily a total ROAS? Total tacos and total ROAS are inverses of each other. So if you have a 4x total ROAS, that's a 25% total ACOS. So I don't think that's, Charles, if you want to expand your question, let me know. Where can locate DSP? I'm not sure what that means, but DSP, you need a seat to have access to it. So you need to talk to an agency with a seat. Joel says, a lot of new functionality from DSP is now available in sponsored display. What are some of the current differences between the two that would warrant focus on DSP, especially if you keep the traffic on Amazon.com? It's just the audiences. I mean, you don't even come close to on sponsored display with the audience targeting. So sponsored display like does nothing. You target like a few audiences here and there. Like think about that versus I can target people who've purchased my product in the last 365 days and exclude people who've purchased from me in the last 90 days or purchased from my competitors. That level of like detail and granularity when building audiences, that's what matters, because it's not about like, oh, sponsored display, I'm going to set it up, I'm going to target an audience, I'm going to do retargeting, and that's it. What is retargeting? Retargeting people who visited you in the last 30 days. What if they purchase your competitor product? Do you want to keep retargeting someone who already purchased your competitor? Like, it's done. He's off the market. They already purchased from your competitor. So that's the difference between DSP and sponsored display. Sponsored display is like a Honda and DSP is like a Lamborghini, you know, when it comes to the functionality. I would love if sponsored display became DSP, because then, you know, you'd have all the functionality of DSP tied into the Amazon like Seller Central and Campaign Manager, so you can see all of the data in one place, versus having to do it manually to track the data. And then Charles says, to get an accurate TACoS, you have to combine DSP and PPC spend to total sales, right? Yes. So here, as you can see, you have, this is the PPC spend. This is total revenue in the entire account. This is the DSP spend. So total advertising spend will be the sum of PPC spend and DSP spend. Total revenue will be the sum, the total revenue in the account, you know, paid and organic. And then, you know, revenue divided by total advertising spend is your ROAS, or spend divided by your revenue is your TACoS. So that's how it's done. Does that answer your question, Charles? Cool. I think that's it on the question side.
Yeah, I think you covered them all, Mina. So I appreciate you, man. Guys, get an audit if you are interested in learning more. Mina is one of the best. So we appreciate you coming on and sharing what you have been working on, Mina. This is really good.
Well, one sec, just to answer Charles' last question. Total product sales in the DSP section is already in Seller Central. So Seller Central will show total sales of everything. So your PPC and DSP and organic, everything is shown in your Seller Central, obviously. So because again, this is all advertising to drive traffic to your listing to make a sale. So you know, a sale is a sale. It's going to be recorded in your Seller Central. So your total revenue in Seller Central, you know, total sales in the business reports, that is a combination of every sale you've gotten from everything. Could be from Facebook and Google ads. You know what I mean? So that's your total revenue. And then you have your spend on PPC and your spend on DSP reported separately. So you combine them and then that is your total spend. And then, you like divide your total spend by your total revenue, which gives you your total ACoS on all the advertising. Omer, you said, can you please explain DSP different from display? I just explained that. So, all right, guys, thank you so much. If you have questions, just hit me up. I'll put my email here. And, you can just email me.
Perfect. Okay, Mina. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All right, that was really great. So thank you to Mina for going through that. Now, next up, we have Mr. Michael Stevenson. Michael, let me get you. There you go. So you're already ready.
How's it going?
Hey, really good. Michael, welcome to the Post-Purchase Pro monthly masterclass.
Thank you.
Excited to have you. And, you've been in the chat box with me kind of the entire time, and we've been riffing on marketing ideas. So it's been fun already. So I can't wait to see what you have prepared for everybody.
Yeah, it's great stuff already. I love it.
All right, Michael. So you can either do a screen share presentation, you can talk, whatever it is that you have prepared.
Sweet.
Go ahead and take it away, my friend.
All right. Well, thank you for hanging out with me here, and I hope hope people got past the Zoom issues, and it seems like we got a good number of people on. Yep. So what I'm going to talk about today is turning influence into wealth, and this is something that I've studied now for 24 years. Is the power of influence and persuasion, and in particular ethical influence and persuasion, which There are a lot of people who teach unethical influencer persuasion. I actually find it works better when you do it ethically. And there are many ways to use influencer persuasion ethically. So this is something I've studied for a long time. My company name is Ethical Marketing Academy, formerly Influence to Profit, and got some great stuff to share with you today. So today I'm going to share with you something that about 99% of most marketers fail to use. And I really think, if you look at the stats of businesses, they say, what is it? Something like 85% of businesses fail within 5 years. And I think one of the biggest reasons for that is that most people who are in business, they don't acknowledge this thing that I'm going to share with you today. Ignoring this is the reason why 99% of marketers fail to live up to their goals, fail to achieve their dreams. And once you pay attention to this and use it skillfully, then you're going to be the envy of your competitors as they try to figure out what it is exactly that you're doing to succeed. Very often when people hire me, they kind of say that what we teach them is the secret sauce to business. So I'm going to give you the most value I can give you. We got a short amount of time today. And then I'll tell you how you can learn a little bit more if that's something you're interested in. So what is this thing? This one thing that 99% of most marketers miss? Well, first, before we get to that, you might be asking, who is Michael Stevenson? If we haven't met before, that's me, which you can see on the camera. I've been in internet marketing for a long time, probably more than 99% of most people. Started my first internet marketing venture in March of 1995. So 28 years ago. This was my first product right here. I used to make these little floppy disks. You used to buy the floppy disk at CompUSA. Didn't even buy the good ones. I bought the cheap ones, 3M, made my own labels, printed them. And really did the original version of e-commerce. Even got into manufacturing my own DVDs, glass mastering CDs and DVDs and things like that over the years. So I've worked in physical products before, the hard way, where I was doing all the manufacturing and all the inventing. But this was my original website in 1995 on my earthlink.net free 10 megabyte website. And if you were around in the 90s when Windows 95 came out, there's a good chance that you used my program. It was called Anywhere 95. It helped you copy and move files around in Windows. And that company was called Liquid Mirror Enterprises. There was a better version of my site in 1998. I also started a network of websites back in 1998 called the Shareware Junction Network, which was one of the very first shareware download websites. Ended up selling that company in 2008. We had over 4 million visitors a month. Did really well with that. Started one of the very first file hosting companies in the world. We called SW Mirror back in the day. And while I am not into the current thing of sourcing products from China and doing the kind of things that you guys do, the fanciness that you guys do, I have done quite a bit on Amazon. Matter of fact, I was part of the original Amazon Advantage program way back in 2003, where I published my first book, Learn Hypnosis Now, as a self-publisher, and I would ship about 3 or 4 times a day. I would ship cases of my books to Amazon. I don't know why they didn't combine orders. They would send me 3 or 4 orders a day, and I would have to fulfill them, 20 to 50 at a time. But yeah, I was part of that program back when it first came out, and I think it was 2003. And still a publisher today. We still publish on Amazon, though most of the stuff we do is through KDP. Matter of fact, this book we launched last week. For the first time ever, I've been on Amazon for 20 years now. And for the first time ever, we hit the bestseller list on Amazon. We were 99 out of, 32.8 million books. So hit lots of category bestsellers over the year, but we finally hit the #1 bestseller. Well, not #1, but the big bestseller list. So I've been working with Amazon for a while. I have a company called Transform Destiny, where I teach something called neurolinguistic programming, which is all about the psychology of the mind, how the subconscious mind works, and in particular, how to communicate with the subconscious mind, which is something that unfortunately most marketers, except the really top-notch ones, don't know. I mentioned earlier in the chat room, Frank Kern, he's one of those guys that really does understand how to make a great offer that appeals to the unconscious mind. And so I've had this business for 23 years, and we're the top trainer of NLP and coaching and hypnotherapy in the nation. And then this is my other company, Ethical Marketing Academy. And what I do is I fuse together my 2 loves, which is psychology and neurolinguistic programming, influence and persuasion, with business and marketing. And those are my 2, other than my wife. That's my wife there. She's the co-owner of the businesses as well. She's my first love. But my second and third loves are, the psychology of sales and marketing and selling, desire, and how to infuse all that with marketing. So I've been doing this for a while. Best-selling author many times over now. Been on TV, heard on the radio. Dan Kennedy has featured me several times. I've been featured in a War Room. I've been a War Room speaker. Flight Club, pretty much any mastermind that you can think of has invited me to come and speak. Created programs like the NLP copywriting program. So I've been around a while. This was, for me, this was the result. A lot of people, they want to make, millions and millions and millions of dollars. For me, I wanted to travel the world. And, a big part of that was discovering how to deliver value to people, but then using influence and persuasion, ethical influence and persuasion, to get people to want that on such a level where, Kayla and I, for 5 years, until COVID hit, COVID grounded us temporarily. But until COVID hit, we traveled the world full time for 5 years while the business ran on autopilot. We would work, if we worked, we would work 2 to 4 hours a day. And a lot of days we didn't work. We were out just traveling around. We did 56 countries, well over 120 cities, all on one-way tickets, first class, business class, 5-star, 4-star hotels. We didn't do hostels. We didn't work our way around the world like a lot of people do. We lived in style. And this is my favorite way to work right here. It's a picture of me coaching one of my high-ticket coaching clients while I was in a jacuzzi. It's a whole funny story behind that. But this is, I like to provide lots of value to people without having to do lots of effort. Right. So one of the things that I teach is moving from effort to energy. And one of the things that really primarily helps you move from effort to energy is being good at persuasion, right? Being good at getting people to buy what it is that you're offering. There's a quote that goes back to the 1800s. It says, if a man has good corn or wood or boards or pigs to sell, or can make better chairs, knives, crucibles, or church organs than anyone else, you will find a broad, hard beaten road to his house, though it be in the woods. It's originally a Ralph Waldo Emerson quote, although you may have heard the shortened version of it that came out in the 1930s that said, if a man builds a better mousetrap. Emerson was a pretty smart dude, but unfortunately, he didn't understand marketing. He was wrong. Because the fact is, we live in a high saturated world right now. Just on Amazon, if you're only selling on Amazon, Amazon's got 32 million books. I don't know how many products are on Amazon. It's incredibly saturated, right? We're always trying to find those little niche markets that aren't saturated, but even those become saturated, especially when Amazon Basics gets involved, right? So people are overwhelmed, they're skeptical, and they're cynical more than at any other time in history. And mostly the skepticism and cynicism comes from being just overwhelmed. We are bombarded with, they estimate, up to 90,000 marketing messages per day. Now, some people say, that's crazy. Like, I don't see 90,000 TV commercials. No, of course not. But I'm looking at my desk here. I've got a Stream Deck. There's a logo. I've got a road. There's logos, there's labels, there's messages everywhere that are constantly overwhelming us, right? And the thing is that the subconscious mind, which is the part of the mind that's most involved in buying, the subconscious mind takes the path of least resistance. And so these days, people's default answer to everything is simply no, right? Most people are struggling with something that is called decision fatigue, or struggling with, what was the word somebody put on it the other day? I heard they coined this term that I'd never heard before. It was infobesity. Most people are struggling with infobesity. We just have too many options. Seth Godin, by the way, predicted this 25 years ago. If you go back and read some of Seth's original books on marketing, he predicted that the internet was going to do this and that being good was no longer good enough, that you would have to be great to stand out. Read the book Purple Cow if you want to know about that, right? So the fact is this, it really doesn't matter how good your intentions are or how good your product or service is. The fact is most people will probably reject you. And this is why it's so important these days. The solution is to learn how to ethically influence and persuade people you interact with. And I think the most important part of that sentence is the word ethically. Because I don't know about you, I've been in business for 28 years. I've been in this current business, Transform Destiny, for 23 years. I have people, matter of fact, I have a client that first bought from me 18 years ago. And about 2 months ago, bought a $2,500 coaching course from me, right? And then 2 weeks ago, I did another course, a $300 course that he bought from me. So this is 18 years later, I still have this person buying from me. By the way, he's a master trainer of NLP, which means he's at the top of the field and he's buying things from another NLP trainer, which I find to be a great honor. And as far as I'm concerned, there are too many people out there who are going for the cash grab. All they want is that first sale. They're not building relationships with people. And I know Amazon makes it hard to build relationships with people. And luckily, there are things like this DSP coming out where you can retarget customers who've bought from you before. I think that's a huge advance. I'd not heard of DSP before. But as far as I'm concerned, it's all about building relationships with people. Do we maybe leave a little bit of money on the table in the front end where people are like, oh, yeah, but I made this much money up front. Yeah, but if that person unsubscribes from your list, hates you, leaves bad reviews, whatever it is, because you didn't do it ethically, then not only does that relationship end, but these days the internet puts a megaphone in people's hands, especially people that have bad experience. And so, I think that part of marketing really needs to become that DNA of being ethical in everything that you do. So stick around until the end. I do have a gift for you. I would love for you. I'm not selling anything here. I love that, these guys put this together and that they have no intention other than providing great value, which I thought was really, really cool. The first thing I asked them when they asked me if, I would do this webinar was like, do you need the affiliate program link? And they're like, nope, we don't want a cut of anything. You can do whatever you want. You can sell something. You can give something away. It's up to you. I just love that. And in the spirit of that, I'm just going to give you a gift at the end. And if you want to learn more, then you'll know how to do it. So let's talk about the makeup of the mind. The mind has two components, right? We have a conscious mind, we have a subconscious mind. Now that's kind of a misnomer actually, because you actually don't have two minds, you have one mind and you're conscious of a tiny, tiny portion of it, right? The rest of it, the vast majority of your mind is unconscious or subconscious. Some people say that the conscious mind only makes up 10% of the mind. It's actually nowhere near that. It's not even a tenth of 1%. Your conscious mind only makes up 6/1000th of 1% of your mind. Your consciousness of what's going on inside of your mind is the tiniest, tiniest sliver of the mind, right? And it's not only the consciousness of what's going on inside your mind, but also the consciousness of what's going on outside of you. I wish I had more time. I could play a video that demonstrates this. You are constantly absorbing far more information than you are consciously aware of. And, there are things like if you look at magicians, a lot of magicians actually pull off their trick by doing something called priming, especially if you look at mentalists, the people who claim to be able to read your mind as stage magicians. Very often what they're doing is they're priming you subconsciously with things that are out of your awareness so that when they say, think of a vegetable and they go, carrot, and you go, how did you know I was thinking of a carrot? Well, they knew it because they actually implanted the suggestion in your mind outside of your consciousness. That's how a vast majority of the mentalism magic works, right? So your conscious mind is just the tiniest fragment of your mind. Your subconscious mind is the other 99.994%. The conscious mind is the logical, analytical mind, right? The conscious mind's job is to analyze what's going on in the environment and to be logical about it. The subconscious mind, on the other hand, is emotional and organic. The conscious mind, this is the primary job. The conscious mind is in charge of accepting or rejecting what it encounters. And in today's world, because we're so overwhelmed, we're so skeptical, we're so cynical, most of the time it just rejects. People even reject things that are good for them, things that they want very often, because it's far easier to say no. There's a really interesting video. If you look up on YouTube, there's a guy named Mark Dice. He goes out on the streets of San Diego with a gold coin, a Canadian gold coin that's worth, it's an ounce of gold. So it's worth, what is that, $1,800 today? I don't know what the price of gold is right now. $1,800. He tries to go out and sell it to people on the streets for $10. And people tell him no. And then on his first video, somebody said, well, maybe they don't know how much it's worth. So he said, okay, I'll reshoot the video. And this time he went on a street corner right in front of a rare gold shop, a rare coin shop. And he's literally telling people, I'll sell this to you for, it was a $1 gold coin, right? In the coin value, but the gold value was worth like $1,800. He said, I'll sell it to you for $10. He goes, you can literally go right into that store right there and sell it. And he still couldn't get people to say yes. This is how hard it is right now. We've got to learn to get past that critical conscious mind, because that's the job of the conscious mind, is to be critical. The conscious mind literally protects the unconscious mind. Whereas on the other hand, the subconscious mind is in charge of all emotions, and in particular in charge of desire, right? When it comes to influence and persuasion, when it comes to marketing and sales, the conscious mind is the enemy. The conscious mind is the gatekeeper. It's like those guards that you see at the Royal Palace. Their job is to keep environments and suggestions out, right? If you think about those guards that stand at the gate at Buckingham Palace, what are the guards protecting? The guards are protecting now the king. Been the queen for so long, it's so weird to say that. The guards are protecting the King of England. Why? Because the king is the most powerful person in the monarchy. The king is the decision maker. The king is the one that can get things done, right? And so the guards, which can't really get anything done, are standing at the outside of the gate, and their job is to keep you out. So this is intended to be a good thing, but unfortunately for most people, it isn't. Because here's the thing, if you can bypass that gatekeeper, you have access to the vast majority of the mind, which is in charge of desire, where all buying decisions are made. All buying decisions. I've rarely ever encountered a buying decision that didn't involve desire more than logic. Okay. Now, there are certain things like, oh, somebody needs cancer surgery. I suppose in a case like that, that's a necessity that has to happen. For nobody goes, I want cancer surgery, right? But in most cases, and especially when we're selling things to consumers, desire is the number one thing, right? Accessing and communicating with the subconscious mind is the key to great marketing and sales. Desire is the driving traffic in all sales and marketing, especially to consumers. And the subconscious mind is in charge of all emotions, including desire. The problem is most business owners are marketing to the conscious mind. They are trying to make a good logical case of why you should buy the product. And you're speaking to the conscious mind, whose job is essentially to reject. So what I'm going to share with you today are a couple of ways that you can get past that conscious gatekeeper and speak directly to the subconscious mind to generate that desire. The first one is something most marketers don't know about. I would say 99.8% of marketers don't know about this. The ones who do know about it and actually implement it well are wealthy, right? This is actually something that was written in a little tiny book called The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles. If you take my gift at the end of the presentation, there's actually a link inside the account where you can download that book. Most of the book is okay, right? It's a book from the 1930s. Most of the book is okay, but there's one chapter in there called The Impression of Increase. And this single-handedly has made me wealthy, has made many of the top internet marketers that wealthy as well, because it really targets that subconscious mind and creating desire. Wallace D. Wattles said in the book, The Science of Getting Rich, people will pay inordinate amounts of money for an impression of increase in status amongst their peers. An impression of increase in status amongst their peers. Now, what does that mean? He didn't say they will pay money for an increase of status, which of course people will. They don't even have to get an increase of status. They just have to feel that their status is increased by buying the product or service, an impression of increase, right? And so this is something that unfortunately most people, when they sell in one of two ways. They either say, here's what you're going to get, which we might call features, or here's what you're going to be able to do when you buy the product, which is what we call benefits. Now, benefits are better than features. Anybody who's studied marketing knows this, right? Benefits are far better than features, but they're still not as deep as you can go when it comes to influencing the subconscious mind, right? What you really want to target is, who are you going to become by using this product or service? Now, you might be thinking, well, that sounds great if you're selling coaching, right? Or if you're selling some sort of a transformational course or something like, but if I'm selling dog leashes, right? We brought up dog leashes earlier. How am I going to do an impression of increase in dog leashes? It's really simple. People who own their dogs love their dogs, and they want to be considered the best dog owners. They want to be considered the people who love their dogs the most. That's one of the reasons why dog owners are such rabid buyers, right? Look at me. Look at what I did for my dog. Look at this cute little outfit I put on my dog. Whatever it is, right? Much of the time, the people who are buying things for their dog, listen, dogs don't like to wear shirts. I'm sorry. Dogs were not put on this earth to wear clothing. People don't put clothes on the dogs for the dogs. They put clothes on the dogs for other people to see. Anything you sell can be tied to an impression of increase. Now, most people, the chapter on this is very short. It took me years to figure out all the components of impression of increase. I'm going to share them with you now. First impression of increase, there's the quote right there from Wallace Wattles. There is a high need, by the way, to be seen by others as more likable, desirable, and to be admired by others. Now, by the way, first thing I will say is this. When I talk about an increase of status, some people go, yeah, you know what? I'm not impressed by money. Okay, so money isn't your status, right? I mean, I like nice watches. I got a Rolex watch on. I didn't used to like nice watches, by the way. I bought this Rolex as a stage prop because when my wife and I went to travel the world full time, we sold everything we owned. For the first time since I was a teenager, I didn't even own a car. And I looked at my wife and I was like, I'm speaking on stages all over the world. How are people going to know I'm successful? I said, maybe I should buy a fancy watch. I didn't wear watches. I didn't like watches, right? Maybe I should buy a fancy watch because, right, this is going to raise my status when I speak on stages. I still wear it when I do webinars and things like that as well, right? Although I don't wear it most of the time. But here's the thing, right? The reason why people buy Rolexes is not to tell time. They're actually not very good timekeepers. right? The reason why people wear Rolex is to be admired by others. Now, that's a money status, but it's not the only way to have status, right? You could have single mothers who live on a commune who don't earn any money at all. And their status, maybe look at what a good mother I am. You could have dog owners that are, look at how much I love my dog. Status is different amongst different circles. So when I say status, don't make the mistake of thinking I'm only talking about wealth, right? There are a lot of other ways that people can have status. Matter of fact, there are some people who being miserly is a status. They'll brag about how much money they saved, right? Not how much money they spent. That's a status in some circles. So the first kind of status is what's called exclusive inclusion, right? We talk about things being exclusive, but people don't want to be excluded. They want other people to be excluded. They want to be included in something other people are not included in, right? So what are some examples of that, right? Number one, naming, right? This is one of our coaching programs here is the Elite program. A lot of people will do programs that are gold, silver, diamond, platinum. And we have a couple of those programs too. But when we came out with the Elite program, what we found is that most people didn't want to be gold or platinum. They wanted to be elite, right? Dan Kennedy's Elite Gold Crown, Anthony Robbins Platinum Partnership. Are you really partnering with Tony Robbins when you join his mastermind? Of course not. You're not partnering with anybody. You're just spending $120K to be part of a mastermind, right? But that partnership, right? And then American Express Black Card. People want that Black Card so that, you know, they don't want the Black Card for themselves for the limit. They want to be able to pull that out of their pocket and have other people see that they have that status, right? One of the things I love, Sean actually used this in his presentation at the top of the hour, expertly. What did he do? He said, I have a private invitation-only Zoom call already planned in a few days. Since you're here at this event, I want you to get exclusive access. That was a master play right there, right? He is increasing your desire to be part of this webinar because other people are not allowed to be on it, right? That's an impression of increase. Here's another impression of increase. Any kind of designation, awards, badges, or other kind of edification that you can offer customers for buying your product. These are things like VIP passes. Well, not the VIP pass so much, but this is a marketing mastermind that I'm a part of called Flight Club. And one of the things I love is they give us these name badges that are literally cut out of titanium. They're laser cut out of titanium. That badge, people walk around with that badge and they want other people to see it, right? Any kind of a gamification that you can do. Also attaching to things like as seen on TV, as heard on radio, those kinds of things can increase desire. Any kind of advantage that you can offer people over other products. Things like backstage access, red carpet, velvet ropes. I love, this is a picture from Universal Studios in LA. A ticket to Universal Studios is, where was it? A one-day pass is $80, I think that says. General admission, $80 for a one-day ticket. But look, you can get the annual pass for $99. That's called a no-brainer. That's a mafia offer, right? Why would you spend $80 for one day when you can get the whole year for $99? But here's the important thing. Look at the left. Front of the line, get the star treatment, $139. Or the VIP experience. They don't put you on the big tram with everybody else for the tour. You actually sit in a golf cart and you get a personal tour, right? And they make sure everybody can see you doing that as well. $299. Look at the markup on that, from $80 to $299, right? For that VIP experience. Next is attractiveness, right? Some of you, especially the Amazon sellers, you sell things that can create attractiveness. Are you highlighting that? This is Forbes Riley. She's a kind of a TV personality, and she made this thing. It's not the shake weight. I don't remember what it's called, but it's basically like a little weight on a string. It's actually kind of a cheap product. I've seen them in person, right? And all you do is you wind the string up until it gets tight, and then you basically pull it. Spin Gym. It's called the Spin Gym. And she claims that she's in her 60s. She claims that she looks like this because of the Spin Gym, because she works out all day long with it. Well, here's the thing. Nobody cares how heavy the Spin Gym is, what it's made out of. Those are all features. Nobody cares about the benefits. You know, you're going to build your muscles. You're going to this or that. What people want is what's going on the left, right? Because Forbes is in her 60s. This guy, who's actually her boyfriend, he was originally the model for the ad and they ended up dating. He's in his 30s. Every woman that buys a Spin Gym wants some young dude looking at her like that. That's what she sells, right? You know, dentists and people who do cosmetic surgery, they're always selling attractiveness. Here's another one that's not so obvious to people is qualification, especially if you're selling to affluent people who have some sort of wealth or success. People love to qualify. It's a form of exclusiveness. When they can say, I'm good enough to, even though other people are not good enough to. So one of the things that I do in my programs, for example, we have several coaching programs. And one of the things that we did is we added applications to our coaching programs. Instead of just doing a sales call, we added an application. And the application is a hoop people have to jump through. There are something like 23 or 24 questions on there people have to fill out. It actually makes people desire the program more, because as they're going through the application, they're going, oh, yep, that's me, that's me, that's me. I qualify for that, right? And they want that external validation that they qualify. Now, the one thing I will say is if you're selling to lower ticket audiences, right? If you're selling to people who are not affluent or not successful, this can backfire on you, right? Because then all of their insecurities will come up as they're filling out the application and then abandon. So this one really depends on who you're marketing to. And then finally, the last one in impression of increase is any association with celebrities or other success stories in the market. You would be amazed at how cheap it is to get a celebrity endorsement, or even to get a picture with a celebrity, right? These are all, most of these people are friends of mine, except for Joe Theismann. I don't watch football, so I'm not really a football fan. But most of these people are friends of mine. I've also hired them to come and speak at my events. It's far cheaper than you know to hire a celebrity, and I can't disclose any of the prices. There are non-disclosure agreements with that, but let's just say anybody can afford to have a celebrity come and speak at their event. This is Glenn Morshower. He was in 24, Dallas, Hawaii, 5-0, all Transformers movies. He's been in everything. One of the most recognized faces in Hollywood. He's spoken at my events many times. A good friend of mine now. That's Les Brown. Here's Damon John. Damon actually hired our company. One of his companies hired our company to be a marketing consultant for him. Joe Theismann. This was just an event that I went to, and I paid for the VIP upgrade to get better seats, and I got pictures with the people. There's Forbes Riley and Kevin Harrington from Shark Tank. There's a picture with Brian Tracy, picture with Jack Canfield, right? All of these things build credibility for you. It doesn't make logical sense, right? Because I'm one of those people, I look at other people doing pictures like that, and I'm like, I don't care if he knows Jack Canfield. It doesn't matter to me, but it does matter to the vast majority of other people, right? It does matter to the vast majority of other people. I love this. This is Dan Cricks. He's a friend of mine. He got a picture. He paid for a VIP access at a GKIC Dan Kennedy event and got a picture with Gene Simmons, put it up on his Facebook wall. And suddenly he started getting people going, hey, Dan, are you doing marketing for Gene Simmons now? And he'd say, no, but I can help you. And he got so much business from this. To this day, he refuses to take this grainy picture down off of his Facebook, even though it's 15 years old. So any kind of celebrity attachment to either your product or yourself, if you're the face of the brand, will help increase that. Now, my second thing that I'm going to share with you is something called embedded commands. If you've ever trained in copywriting, you've heard of embedded commands, and I will say you probably heard wrong. A lot of copywriters teach embedded commands and they completely botch it. They don't really understand what embedded commands are. Embedded commands actually come from the world of hypnotherapy. They were invented by one of the greatest hypnotherapists who ever lived. He was a psychiatrist and a medical doctor named Milton H. Erickson. And he was also a hypnotherapist, one of the greatest hypnotherapists. Well, many, many years ago, back in the 20s, he was working with schizophrenics, which were, really, if you talk to psychiatrists, one of the most resistant patients that you can have. Schizophrenics are the people who go, I'm Jesus Christ. And if you go, you're not Jesus Christ, they will fight you tooth and nail. It actually makes them believe it more. So very resistant to change. Milton, who was a classically trained hypnotherapist, tried using hypnotherapy, but they resisted the hypnotherapy. So what he did is he came up with something called conversational hypnosis. This is something that we teach, which is a way to speak directly to people's subconscious minds in everyday conversation. It's a form of hypnosis, but you're not telling people to close your eyes, relax your hair, relax your toenails, right? It's not that form of hypnosis. It's literally bypassing the conscious mind in everyday conversation and speaking directly to the subconscious mind. Now, does that mean that people will become robots and zombies and do your bidding? Of course not, right? By speaking to the subconscious mind, you're not taking control of other people. But what you are doing is you're bypassing that gatekeeper so you can speak to the king or the queen, right? The subconscious mind, which is in charge of all desire. So one of the things Milton Erickson did, a part of conversational hypnosis, is something called embedded commands. And again, this has been bastardized in copywriting. People do it wrong. An embedded command, if I could define it really quick, is a piece of communication that is subtly emphasized to be picked up only by the subconscious mind. It bypasses the conscious mind completely. The conscious mind isn't even aware of the communication, but the subconscious mind picks up on it. Remember, the subconscious mind is far more aware of what's going on in your environment, just like we talked about with mentalists using priming to get you to think of a giraffe, and then they pretend like they read your mind. Okay, subconscious mind is picking up on everything, even the most minute of details. that the conscious mind would completely miss, because the conscious mind, your awareness of what's going on in the world is deleted, distorted, and generalized, right? But the subconscious mind has full access to what's going on around you in the world. Okay. Hey guys, I don't know what time I started. So can you let me know how much time I have left, just so I can make sure that I end on time? I want to respect everybody's time. If somebody could.
Yeah, Michael, I'm not sure what time you started either. I know our schedule was a little bit off. So
okay. I got about
I think you're good.
10 more minutes. Is that good?
Okay, perfect. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So embedded commands can be as simple and obvious as something like this. Don't think of a black cat. Right? Now, what are you thinking of? When I say don't think of a black cat, what are you thinking of right now? You're thinking of a black cat. There's two reasons for that. Number one, the subconscious mind does not process negatives. This is a huge mistake people make in marketing, right? And in sales. If I was to say, I don't want you to think this is too expensive, what are you thinking right now? You're thinking it's too expensive because the unconscious mind doesn't process negatives. The unconscious mind thinks in pictures, sounds, and feelings, not in words. The conscious mind thinks in words. Subconscious mind. So if I say, don't think of a black cat, the only way the subconscious mind can understand that statement is to first think of a black cat, right? And literally implant that suggestion into the mind. Why? Because here's the second reason. The embedded command is right there in the sentence. Think of a black cat, okay? Now, they can also be more subtle. Don't think of a black cat is pretty obvious. But what about something like this? Richard Bandler and John Grinder, the two that co-founded NLP together, they used to teach seminars on this back in the 70s, and they would come out to teach people conversational hypnosis, mostly psychologists at the time. And they, instead of teaching that, they would come out and tell a story. They would say, my mother used to bake cookies from scratch. I wonder if your mother knows how to bake cookies from scratch now. And then they would continue for 2 or 3 or 4 minutes telling a story about mother baking cookies from scratch, until all 200 or 300 people in the room at one point would be going like this. And they'd all be laughing because, like, why is everybody doing this? Well, the reason for that is the embedded command is right there in the sentence. Scratch your nose now. Did anybody in the audience scratch your nose? I always get people when I teach this on Zoom, they're like, I was just scratching my nose, right? Now they would go on for minutes doing this to the point where the unconscious mind would finally pick up on the suggestion and everybody would do it. But the words scratch your nose now are right there in the sentence. The conscious mind has no clue. The conscious mind thinks you're talking about baking. But the subconscious mind is getting the message, scratch your nose now. Notice, by the way, the word nose isn't even spelled the same way, but it doesn't matter. It's phonetic, okay? Now, the key is this, right? You have to emphasize the words. Otherwise, the subconscious mind won't know they're significant. Okay. If I just said this way, my mother used to bake cookies from scratch. I wonder if your mother knows how to bake cookies from scratch now. You probably wouldn't get the message. So the words have to be emphasized in one way or another. Okay. Now, if you're speaking to somebody face to face or over Zoom or in a video, you could use a different sound. For example, in this last one, I said, my mother used to bake cookies from scratch. I wonder if your mother knows how to bake cookies from scratch now. Now, notice what I did there is I used the consistent pitch for the important words. You wouldn't have noticed it consciously until I pointed out, but now that I told you I did it, you might be like, oh yeah, I did hear that, right? The other thing you could do is tempo. You could slow down on certain words and not on others. Now I'm really emphasizing this now so you can hear it. Ideally, you want to do it in a way that the conscious mind doesn't pick up on it. It's subtle, right? You could also use different volume. If you're face to face with a person, you could do it touch. You could touch a person's knee, for example, on certain words. Or more likely, what you're going to do if you're a copywriter or marketing online, you're going to do it with some sort of a site, a visual. It could be a gesture, but more often than not, if I'm writing copy, it's a slightly different color, okay? The problem with most copywriters is they don't make them inconspicuous enough. They actually bold embedded commands. Copywriting teachers out there tell people to bold their embedded commands, but then that makes it conscious, and the conscious mind's job is to reject things, right? So what we want to do is we want to be subtle about how we emphasize the words. Does anybody see the embedded command on this page? It's not the bold words. It's far more subtle than that. Here, I'll zoom in on it for you. It's right there. It's in the words we emphasize. These two words right here are a slightly different color. Most of the text on this page is black, 100% black. But this word right here, emphasize, actually this whole sentence right here, emphasize the words, is all slightly less dark than 100% black. Now, you wouldn't have noticed that until I pointed it out. You may not even notice it now consciously, but if I zoom in on it, you can see this word right here is full black. This word right here is slightly gray. Now, every time I do this, I get somebody, I can see them on the camera going like this. And for those of you that need glasses, I'll zoom in even more. Oh, where did my next Zoom slide go? It must not have saved. I added one more slide to zoom in on that even more yesterday, but I don't think it's saved. Yeah, so these are two different colors here. So here's an example of a little bit more of a subtle way of embedding that, right? The words scratch your nose now are a slightly different color. Now you're probably seeing it right now, but that's because I've made it conscious for you. If somebody doesn't know this and they're not aware that it's happening, they don't see it. I've tested this thousands of times since I first started doing this in 1998. The very first time I ever used this in 1998, I took a sales page. All I did was go through and change the color on certain words that were favorable toward the sale. That's it. That's the only thing I did. And we had a 30% lift in sales. This stuff works. Done it thousands of times since then, right? So the hex code for that, if you're doing internet, like an internet page, the hex code I use for the color is hashtag 404040, right? So that's the RGB 404040. And the other thing you could do is you could do full black, but then make it 25% transparent. Okay, so that's the other code that I use on the internet. It's basically about 75% black. Okay, here are a couple examples I use on a web page. This is a program that I sell called the Wealth Imprint, and I did this in bullet points. I say it's quick and easy. Get your mind to finally work for you instead of against you. This is the simplest way to create new supportive beliefs about wealth. Program your subconscious mind for powerful new potential. Now you can be in charge of your own destiny. Now, a lot of classically trained copywriters will think the capital letters are the embedded commands, but they're not. They're just a distraction. Here's the real embedded command right there. The very first word of each sentence is marked out to the unconscious mind. Get this program now. It's simply amazing. Nobody notices this consciously until I point it out. Now that I point it out, you can probably see it. The way that this was made in an old page builder that didn't let me change the color of individual words. So the only way I could mark it out, and this may be what you have to do on Amazon in your descriptions, is I put a double space, right? So that's one of the things you can do to mark out your words is put double spaces around certain words. This is still almost imperceptible to the conscious mind. Even if somebody does notice it, they probably just think it's a mistake, right? Here's another one that I had on my website for a long time. It was kind of an inspirational message that was up on the right sidebar. Break through your unempowering barriers you've lived with for so long. Now is the time for life's obstacles to bend to your will, tackle them and thrive. Well, there's the message. First letter of every word. By now. Right? So here's how to make embedded commands. Number one, decide on the desired result. What is it you want? Maybe you want to click through, right? Step two, decide on the words that you're going to use to get the result. Like, for example, the words click the button. Okay. Step three, develop sentences around the words. For example, once you learn this, it'll really click. The trick is to be creative, but even if you don't think you're creative, you'll get results as early as tonight. Now, I've bolded these so you can see them, but you can see the embedded command, click the button. Notice, by the way, but and ton don't even need to be together. The unconscious mind will figure out what that means. Then you emphasize the words by marking them out in some way. For example, a different color. Okay. One thing that I'll show you really quick before I wrap up. This is a website. I have a course called NLP Copywriting Mastery, where we teach this kind of stuff, how to use this in writing. And if you scroll through this website, there is nothing that you would notice consciously about anything on this page, right? It's a very classical copywriting page. It converts really, really well. Well, one of the reasons it converts really well, and I'm going to flip over to another tab where I've put a flag on the website. I do this only for my students. Obviously, we don't do this for the public, but just so my students can see the embedded commands. I put a flag on the website that turns all the embedded commands red. And as I scroll through the page, you can see everywhere that I put embedded commands. Great product, pay attention, learn it, make the product or service irresistible, want this thing, it calls out your name, go back to that time now, feel this feeling of deep desire. These are all embedded commands, which again, if I flip back over here, you wouldn't even possibly consciously know. Now that you know that great product is an embedded command, you might be able to consciously detect that change there, but most people don't consciously recognize it at all. Yet it makes a big difference in the results. Test it, right? Test it and see what happens. So is this awesome? Hopefully, if you're like me, this stuff fascinates me. I'm fascinated by how the mind works. I have been since I was a teenager. I love this stuff. And it really is just the tip of the iceberg. So again, my website is ethicalmarketing.com. We're the Ethical Marketing Academy. I would love to give you a gift today. And that gift is a copy of my book, Influence to Profit, on ebook. And so you can get that by going to ethicalmarketing.com/PPP for Post-Purchase Pro, or you can scan that QR code there and that will take you there. Once you get on the email list, I'm going to give you a bunch of other gifts. I'm going to shower you with gifts for the first few days. They're all really valuable, will help you market more. And then if there's more you want to learn, we have classes, we have coaching programs, and all kinds of other stuff to help you get even better results in your business and marketing, make you a master marketer.
Amazing. Michael, I really appreciate it. A lot of the things that you shared today, I didn't know or hadn't thought about. So I am a student and kind of a marketing nerd as well, as you seem to be. So I definitely appreciate it. Randall says, wow, this is amazing. Oscar says, really, really valuable. So Michael, we appreciate you for sure. Guys,
Awesome.
get the free book there, ethicalmarketing.com/PPP. Michael, really, really appreciate you.
Thank you. This is great. Thanks for having me on.
All right, absolutely. So, all right, so our next speaker here is, Randall says, how many embedded commands are in the lead magnet? That's funny. Slave is up next. So Slave, I'd love to bring you on. There we go. Let's get you unmuted there. There we go. Oh man, I think we keep
I can do it myself.
there you go. Sometimes people are disabled, so I just wanted to make sure that you have it there. So Slave, welcome to the Post-Purchase Pro monthly masterclass. Really excited to have you talk about. When I saw your topic, I was really excited to share it with the audience.
Thank you so much, and thanks for having me on the show. And I hope that I can bring some value to your audience with what I'm presenting today.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see here if we can get you fully equipped. So are you able to do a screen share?
Yeah.
There you go. Beautiful. All right.
Okay.
I'll let you take it away from here, my friend.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So thank you so much for sticking around for so long, and I hope that I can bring you guys some value with this. But basically, my name is Slave Angelov, and I'm a freelance designer turned entrepreneur. I'm the owner and creative director of FlipRice, which is a design agency catering to Amazon sellers. My journey started as a freelance designer. In 2016, I founded a design agency to help out a huge brand out of San Diego that was selling LED lights, help them in the next couple of years reach 40 million a year in revenue. And basically after that, started expanding our customer base and working with aggregators. And then I founded Lista, which is a design tool, online design tool that helps you design Amazon listing images on your own, sort of like Canva for Amazon, but a much simpler approach. This was a result of our work as a design agency, and we built templates for different sorts of brands all the time that we would then reuse for different products, and decided to basically turn that into a useful tool for Amazon sellers who are like on a budget or they don't have a design team or have a lot of products and they need to push out a lot of listings in a really short amount of time. And so through our work, we've worked with different types of brands. We're currently working with a bunch of aggregators and some larger brands that are selling on Amazon and off Amazon. And in our journey, in our design journey with our companies, we've really had to figure out a process that we would go through in order to design listing images that convert. And a big part of that was the research process. And basically what happens when companies hire design agencies is a lot of the times the work gets directly sent to a designer and outsourced, and you end up, getting images that aren't fully based on a lot of research. They're based on just somebody looking at your images, or somebody, just looking at a couple of competitors and trying to do the same thing. What we implemented as a result of working with a large brand at the beginning was, with them, we were able to hone in on a process that would help create a research process that would then help ensure that the listing images we are creating are targeting the right users. They're not missing out on any important information, and they're competing with the right types of products. And so the first thing that I'm going to show you is basically like an overview of like a very simple document that we have in-house, which is a competitive research document. And this is something that a copywriter would have to fill in every single time they update we have a request for updating listing images. And it basically serves to ensure that we don't miss out on any important information. So it's structured in a few sections. The first one is choosing our competitors. The second one is reading through their listing image, reading through their images, titles, bullets, EBC, any like description that they have, and then putting that all down. And then reading through the Q&A section and customer review section as well. So basically for the Q&A section, we tend to review no more than 20 per listings, but note 5 that are noteworthy. And then for customer reviews, we get 10 to 25 reviews per listing, but not only 5 as well. And so basically the job of a copywriter in the design process would be to go in, look at all of the potential competitors, and then figure out how, what sort of information is relevant. And of course, we start with our own product, and then we move on to competitors' products as well. So a very important part of starting with this process of selecting these competitors and compiling this information is basically figuring out what the real competitors are that we need to look at. Just like some quick examples of some mistakes that people make or would be, for example, in this case, we have 2 products that are containers for their storage containers. Now, in this case, we have like one that is a cereal container, and the other one is a food storage container. Of course, you can use these for anything, but if we were to choose competitors that we would compare with and compare with their images, we would opt for a competitor that is selling basically the same type of container for the same purpose. So purpose is one important part of selecting, and that's more evident in this case, for example, where we have very similar looking products that have their storage bins. We don't see from the main image what it's about, so they could be in the same category, but serve a different purpose. And so one of those, when we get inside of the listing, one of those is basically used for organizing your cupboards, organizing documents, and like securing your electronics, books, all of that. And the other one is used for storing clothes. So if we were to compare to a similar product, despite this being very similar in look and functionality, since these 2 listings are targeting a different type of use for the product, the ideal comparison would be to compare it to somebody who is selling it for the same purpose as well, because the images would be more usable in your research, in your competitive research. A different example here would be, in this case, where we're seeing 2 sets of, one set of padlocks and one individual one. From a first glance, it looks like it's the same. It's a same or a similar product, but one of these is just a regular padlock that you can use in like a locker room or somewhere, anywhere you want. And then on the other hand, we have padlocks that are used for international travel. So they're TSA certified. If we were to work on this product and do research on this product and its competitors, Despite this being, an interest, it could be one of the highest selling products for a similar keywords. It is targeting a very specific use case, so it wouldn't be the best source of information. And there's other, apart from these three, there's other ways that we would think about selecting competitors. An excellent example of a competitor listing would be a product with the same or similar specifications, product benefits, and uses, fulfilling the exact customer needs that is ranking well in the same category and or subcategory. So basically, these are some examples of some of those qualifications that we would take and use in informing our decisions on listing image design. Some other tips for how to choose competitors would be to look for competitors within the same price range. Basically, something like from $7 to $10 or $35 to $50, or look into competitors with significantly higher. You could look at competitors with significantly higher prices. That wouldn't be a mistake, but sometimes it could be misleading because they hold a different market position. Another thing to look at is ratings. In our research, we don't take into account, we only take into account products with a rating higher than 4.5 because we're trying to inspire ourselves and see what actually works on Amazon and how information is communicated the best way it can. So the same document now filled in can show us what basically the research process would look like if when it's done. And in the first table, we have the competitors that we've chosen. Now, what we've considered here in this case is competitors ranking, product dimensions, product varieties, quantities and packs, categories and subcategories that they sell in. So for this particular product, for example, it's a shower sponge. And so we're looking at other shower sponges, but looking at ones that are similar in size and use. We're looking at the ones that are sold in the same pack size. We're looking at the ones that are doing well on Amazon with a great rating. We're looking at the ones that are in a similar or ranking high in the same category or a subcategory that we are selling in as well. So it's a little bit of a this is like the part of the process that is based on your it's based on your assumptions for like what makes a good listing. What a proper competitor would be for this, like who people are going to be comparing us to if they were to open multiple listings from the search page. But also it's based on data, and it makes sense that if we follow the right type of information, we would end up comparing ourselves to our actual competitors and not just people who might have been in the category for a really long time or have a stellar rating but are not the same type of product or don't have the same unique use. So basically the next step for filling out this form or this table would be how we compare in terms of information, and then we segment that into product specs, so a technical type of information, product features, product benefits, and then compare it in a comparative form so that we know like how we compare to them and we can create images about comparison. And then product uses, product unique selling propositions, and basically combine those with the type of images that this information would be found on. So basically product features as a listing image would combine the image of a product with specific features that you can maybe see on the product itself, or could be explained in other like visual ways. A product benefit information would be then combined with a with a lifestyle visual of somebody using this product and experiencing these benefits that we're talking about. And always it's important to combine the graphics to make sure that the images and the copy that goes on the images corresponds with each other, and that basically when you're looking at a listing image, you wouldn't have to read the information in order to get what it's trying to say. So basically what we're selling through each of these images needs to also be visually related to the same topic and explain what we're trying to explain with words. So this list goes on, and we compare it with all of these competitors that we've found. Then we go into the Q&A section, and we basically pull the questions that people ask that would be very relevant for our product as well, and ensuring that that we haven't missed anything in the listing images when we are working on them later on. And then we're looking at the customer review section. We're figuring out what are some reviews that stand out from the others in the way that they are truthful. They explain maybe specific uses of the product that we haven't thought of, or specific benefits of the product or features that that we haven't even considered. So once we look through all of that, we basically have done the manual part of our research on Amazon. So this means we've found out, we've followed basically a way. I mean, we followed a strategy to find the right types of customers. We've pulled all of the important information and segmented it into features, benefits, uses, and these other categories. So now we have the information on competitive research, and we have everything that we need from like a detailed digging deep into the listings perspective. But there's also things that would things that get mentioned that we wouldn't notice, right? So a lot of times there's very like subtle hints of very subtle hints of what people like and don't like about the product. Sometimes they compare it to other products, and so it's important to basically also have a summary of the majority of the reviews that the products have, in order to use that summary to make sure that you haven't missed any of the information with your manual search. And this is where we go into basically Helium 10 the Helium 10 extension. We go into the reviews. We look at the most recent, maybe because sometimes the product could change over time, but keep the same listing. So we look at by most recent. We look at all the ratings, because we're gonna summarize everything now. So it's not if somebody's like hijacking, it wouldn't matter as much, because it wouldn't show, it wouldn't be as relevant. And then we're making sure that we're choosing the right variation of the product that we're looking at reviews for. And then we are applying those filters and downloading this Excel sheet basically full of customer reviews from our selection. And then we summarize that using very popular process that everybody uses now, which is asking ChatGPT to create a list of positive mentions and common complaints that people have about the product. And so once we've done that, we have done basically an in-depth research, and we have done like a scanning research through AI tools. So now we have a lot of information that we need to compile, and we need to distill into a certain amount of images, a certain real estate. And to do that, we often segment that information from the spreadsheet and from the reviews here. We segment that into 3 lists. We have a must-have list of information. We have a would-be nice-to-have list of information, and we have niche type of information that maybe could let us know about specific uses, extensions of this product use that can be then further explored, either through an additional image or through things like cloning, like what you guys were talking about earlier. And so once we have that, basically a copywriter goes in and writes down like image by image what the listing should look like, making sure it has all the types of images that we need, and it has the most important information, so the must-have information first, and then fill in the rest of the space with would be nice to have type of information, and then see if there's space to add some niche information on an additional image. So this basically explains the research process that we do before creating every listing image. And what happens after this is this is a distilled list of this whole research is what would be presented to a designer on our team, and they would look into it and be able to create the images using this copy, and focusing on how to sell through the visuals and combining that with the copy that's been written for the listing. At the end, we have results that can be very different. We're not following like one specific pattern, one specific set of types of images. For example, a product like this might need, instructions on how to prepare it, which is not something that every other product has. A product like this might need more information on installation. A product like this might need to just look really cool and basically show a human in their best performance, or at least striving to be in their best performance. So while making sure the information is being communicated, still customizing the end result, the design based on the specific audience that we are selling to as well. These are some more strategic design tips that we use, and we've found out about throughout the time that some of you might not know, some of you might do, but basically we've realized that using products in a professional setting, even though they're targeting at-home use, could be very beneficial. It could speak of the quality of the product, as well as making you feel that it is a premium product. So for example, on your left and your right side, we're seeing two products that are basically a specialty coffee, and they're very on the more expensive side. But one of these is showing the product in a home use. They've done a photo shoot where they have a model and they're just showing all of their products at home, and then the other one is showing a blurred version or a background of a cafe, which in turn basically tells you a little bit more about the product and its use, rather than this image, for example, because you are now thinking, okay, this is actually used in a professional setting, and like people, I can have this experience for a lot cheaper than that people are having at a cafe shop, a coffee shop. And another small strategy would be to add context to dimension images. For example, a lot of times the dimension images on listings is just the product, and then there are lines with the dimensions written on it. But I mean, even in this example, right? Like I don't know what any of my glasses dimensions are in inches, and it's not really relevant. What's relevant for me to understand how large a product is a comparison to my hand, because then I get exactly the idea. I don't need to read the dimensions at all. I know how big this product is, and the context explains that without any difficulties. Another interesting tip would be to upsell on additional products by creating a routine. This could be for beauty products, but it could be for anything else as well. It could be for cleaning supplies. It could be for training equipment, for anything really. You can upsell other products that you have, not by just saying like, use this in a 2-pack, or like not by having bundles, but also by having a routine, some sort of a step-by-step program that isn't as salesy as a bundle would be. Another thing to consider would be if you're rebranding at some point, and if you're changing branding or packaging, would be to announce that change. A lot of times customers are confused because they don't understand what's happening. They're using a product that they've used, like a product they've used for a long time. They're coming back to the listing and they see a new design, like a completely new look, explain, and they're questioning the quality of the product. Is this still the same product? So announcing any changes in branding, reassuring people of the consistent quality of the product is very helpful in order to not create confusion. Something else that we've done for brands is perceptual mapping, which is the tactic where it's a marketing strategy where you place your product in the proximity or in use with premium branded products, other premium branded products that are relevant to your product. So whenever people see it in good company, they would think it's a good product. So if it's a premium line of products, it would be this is the type of net I need for my choice. And this could be done in so many categories. You would just have to think about like the contexts that the product is seen in and the other products around it, basically. User-generated content, it's becoming a very popular thing, but I mean, it's also very important because everyone now has listing images that are beautifully designed, but people want to see a little bit of they want to see a little bit of reality. They want to see social proof. They want to see something that is not too staged and too professional looking. So another tip would be to use your brand story wisely. Depending on what your product is, if it would be, there's good strategies for how to design brand stories. Some of them could be, showing reviews, showing user-generated content, so you don't have to use up all of your listing image space. You can use this here and basically have people scroll through some of your reviews and get a good feeling about your product. Another strategy for brand stories would be if you have a large catalog of products with a lot of categorization, you can use your brand story as a secondary storefront in a way. So basically you can put all of the categories that you have for your brand, and you can put these into different images. I've seen a lot of people not know how to use brand stories. They fill them in with just more information about the product, but it's not like a call to action for anything. So considering like options like these would be very helpful for the brand. And then polling and making sure that you're split testing your images with other brands' main images and listing images. And an interesting, this is something that we've employed for a long time. It really helps to see how your product is performing compared to other listing images, but also to understand why. And so something that we've started doing for split test results is summarizing those answers as well, as in a similar way that we're summarizing the comments, the reviews from the listing. Let's say we've gotten the results from a poll that we've done, and now we're asking for a quick summarization of people's preferences. So I'm asking individually people's preferences for the first, second, and third options that they were presented with in this poll, and I want them for each option individually. And so it's giving me a clear understanding of why people are preferring some option over another. And then I can further do that. I can further investigate, and basically based on this feedback, I'm asking what it would improve in the second option to make it more appealing to the audience and become a winning option. So I'm now asking, okay, give me specific things that I need to fix about my image. A lot of the times when we're working with clients, when a winning option shows up, for example, in this case, you know, the client would say, you know, just do the same position of the hand and the same position of the box. And when we do that, it still like wouldn't come up as a winner. And so by summarizing and asking for specific improvements that we can make on the images, we get you get a lot more insight and a lot more of a summarized version of all of the responses. And so you know, distilling that down to even like top 3 things that should change, and then testing it again to get a winner image. These are some strategies that we've employed throughout time to help the brands that we work with. These are just some screenshots of something one of our clients posted on LinkedIn to show you know, the progress they've made and the results they've had from Prime Day. And so with employing all of these practices in research, and then before building the listing and then after building the listing images, we were able to help them get a lot of return on their investment. And so you would know that if you were following the, you know, some KPIs to follow once you update your listings would be to check for increased click-through rate. And that would be like unit session percentage on Seller Central, and then to look for increased conversion rate rather than just conversion, which means sessions percentage. Yeah, I mean, I hope you know, this all makes sense. It's a little compact. It's I didn't want to take up too much time, but I hope, you know, some of these tricks helped you guys, you know, learn and think about some new options and possibilities for your own brand. If you want to get in touch and get a free consultation, you can message me on here using this email address, and I will get back to you with a scheduled time for a consultation. And then you can also check out Lista. Lista is the design tool that I was talking about earlier. It works in a way that you insert, it's a freemium platform. It works in a way that you insert your information. There's each template has 8 images that have their own purpose on Amazon. And basically you can quickly create listing images that are optimized from our own processes for designing templates.
Yeah, this has been really, really good. So if you don't mind, can you put your email address in the chat box and I can send it to everyone? That way everyone can have it, because a couple of people are asking for it. So that's good. And then Randall says, seeing this presentation after the last one reminds me of the fact that images are processed very subconsciously. So I think it was a perfect tie-in. It was really, really good. So I appreciate it. Let's see, let's make sure we have your, go ahead and grab the email. I'll send that to everybody.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay, beautiful.
Yeah,
all right, so thank you so much. Yeah, this has been amazing. Thank you.
Thank you so much as well.
All right, our last speaker of the day is Mr. William Coons. William, hey, man, thanks for coming on today.
Hey, thank you very much, everyone. Good evening to you. Well, evening and afternoon, everyone. So it's nice to be back.
Yeah, it's 2:30 where I am. William, where are you?
I'm here around the Lexington, Kentucky area. So it's good to see you.
Same as you. So, all right, William. Well, this has been a long time coming, man. So I'm super excited for what you're going to be going through today. So I'll let you kick it off, because I know we're a little bit behind.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to try something. We've had some technical difficulties too. We're trying to use a Canva or PDF presentation. So if you could be so kind, I'm going to present using Canva if that's okay. And if it's too large, because I got one of those big banana screens, just let me know and I'll pop open a PDF plan B and we'll just get going. Does that sound fair?
You know. Let's go ahead and jump in.
You're amazing. Okay. Thank you so much. All right. And share the screen, and here we go. And then I'm going to go ahead and hit present here. Oops, excuse me, right there. One moment. Sorry about that, folks. Everyone has technical difficulties every once in a while, don't they?
Man, Zoom is giving us all kinds of trouble today. So
How's this look
you're in
there,
good company.
Seth? How's this?
It's not it. I don't have anything yet. You might have to hit share.
Yeah, okay. So I hit share on that. So I did share the screen and I hit share there, and there we go. I'm in presenter mode there.
There you go.
How's that look?
Perfect. So
All
if
right,
you can, you're only
I'm-
like 50% of the screen. So if you can zoom in a little bit.
Okay, how's that? Let me zoom in here. Thank you for letting me know that. How's that? Oh, how's this right here?
There you go. I can see it, guys. How's that coming through? If you can see it, okay, let us know.
Yeah, thank you very much there. So how about let's do this. Let's rock on. Let's get started, and then we can kind of share with people the full screen version on the replay or something like that. Okay, so let's get started here. Seth, great to see you, and Sean, wherever you are in the world, hope you're traveling safe. So today's message today is about the importance of diversifying, adapting, and evolving your business. Okay. And what's important about that is, the importance of all this. I don't know why it went full screen there. So let's just stop sharing. I'll keep talking and we'll go from there. Okay. So I apologize for that, folks, for the technical difficulties there. So let me share the alternative screen here. Here we go. Okay, can you see that now? Sorry about that, Seth.
I can see it.
Okay, great.
Yeah, it's just kind of like in a weird format. Do you have one of those really wide
Yeah, I
format
do.
monitors,
Yeah,
William?
yeah, man. It's new too, so I apologize. My apologies.
Yeah, you're fine.
How's that look right there?
There you go. That's probably the biggest we've had it. So I think that's as good as she's going to get today.
All right. Hey, adapt and overcome in life, right, folks? Okay, so basically the importance of diversifying, adapting, evolving your business, right? My name is William Kuntz. I'm the founder and managing director of a company called Awesome Co. I spent over 20 years in the surgical device space and pharmaceuticals, and I learned a lot from working with multi-billion-dollar publicly traded corporations, okay? And learned a lot about how they were diversifying their portfolio to really dominate the market, right? So there's a couple of things that you can do. It's like you can produce Me Too products, or you can produce what I can call solutions-based products that really solve known problems with customers. So that being said, we need to understand what is going on in the market as a whole and globally, okay? And then take a deep dive look of everything that's going on within your business, because what we do know today, more so than any other time in the world, is that margins are being squeezed. Right? Inflation is increasing and so forth. And so basically in a nutshell, is that we need to really kind of level set what's going on with Amazon and who Amazon is and what they're doing. So we know that Amazon is a publicly traded company, right? They're a huge conglomerate. Their hands are in a lot of things. It's not necessarily just relative to the online store. We do know that they have a significant amount of revenue on their e-commerce site, but it's not the only thing that they're not only an e-commerce company, right? So, but they also, what really kind of helps them dominate the market is the logistics and order fulfillment, of course, right? Everyone knows about the Amazon Prime in the world, and it's really kind of changed the game, and that's what's made them the market leader. So who does Amazon ultimately serve? Gonna need your help here, Seth, here, because there's a prize at the end of this, that the first person that can answer this question in the right order will get a 1 hour free consultation with me personally. So guess the top two things that, or top two people that Amazon ultimately serves. Now I want to give everyone in the Q&A the opportunity to chime in here, okay? Give me about 30 seconds here, type in your answers, and then we'll be able to link up right here after this presentation to kind of help you in your business there. So 30 seconds here. So Seth, if you could look at the Q&A, who does Amazon ultimately serve? Okay, come on now, we got about 20 seconds left. Okay, about 15, come on, bring it on in here. I'm offering a 1 hour free consultation. You can absolutely answer this question. I know. And then once you find out what the answer is, it's going to be like, why didn't I think of that? Right. So there are clues that I embedded in purpose, kind of like one of our former prior speakers today, to try to get your attention. Okay, 30 seconds are up. All right. Are you ready for the answer? Who does Amazon ultimately serve? And it is, one second, shareholders and customers. Excuse me for that. Give me one second. Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Seth.
So William, you want the fastest response?
I want the fastest response. The winner is going to be someone that is as close to this answer as it.
Okay, so Randall says 1, their shareholders, 2, the customer. I think he's your winner.
I peek at the winner. I want to flip a coin. Okay, the first one you said right here, heads gets it, and tails the other one gets it. Is that fair? Sound good? Flip of a coin, right? Let's have some fun here. It's heads, so that'd be the first answer right there. So you just won a 1 hour free consultation with me. We can set up after this call. So does that sound fun? Let's go ahead and continue, right? So they do. So Amazon does ultimately serve their shareholders. Why? They're a publicly traded company. Okay. And then the customers. Now, we all know that Amazon was built upon a huge customer base, and they own basically all the rights to the customer information, right? It's really hard to extract that information as whether you're a private label seller or you're an agency, okay? So in knowing that and kind of setting the expectation there is we have some issues. There are some issues in the world going on that we need to really kind of pay attention to that's going on outside of our business that could ultimately impact our business. With rising inflation, wars and conflicts, climate change, there's a lot of fear mongering going on. And then, of course, increases in taxes, utilities, materials. Who has not been impacted by the prices of cardboard, plastics, and labor, right? So there's a lot of things going on that seems like there's negative. It's all negative going out in the world, right? Well, that being said, is we need to understand a little bit what is also going on internally within our business. Okay, so that has impacted margins. So what has impacted margins is PPC bids seem to be continually going up on Amazon, carrier fees, fuel surcharge fees, you name it, and return fees as well, right? So what is it we need to do about it in order to be more successful and to increase the level of margin without basically raising our prices? So what we need to do, or what we can do, excuse me for this, folks, we're adapting and overcoming, is that due to the economic conditions, what is Amazon doing to adapt to the current economic conditions, right? And then what are they ultimately doing to position their products and services to align themselves for future growth? So the question I'm going to ask myself is, we know that Amazon has a grand plan, right? That they hold secret. It's probably locked in a vault of what they want to look like 10, 20 years from now. But they recognize too that they need to adapt to the current market conditions in order to be able to continue to evolve towards their ultimate vision. So it takes the strategy, but we know too that a business plan should be a living, breathing document. Okay. And there was a recent interview that Jeff Bezos was on, and it's almost like a public service announcement. It's how I perceived it to be, but words are powerful. Now, I had it set up to where we could play this clip. So hopefully maybe on the replay, we can get this, but at least you can see the source here. But in a recent interview, he said some very gravitating things, and I want to summarize it here. Okay, let me kind of summarize what he said. And I apologize, I'm having to adapt here. Is that the economy doesn't look great right now. There's layoffs in many sectors. There's an economic recession either going on now or it's coming. And he implores upon the individual consumer and I'm going to quote him, is like basically is you might want to hold off on purchasing those large screen TVs as a consumer. right? So the overwhelming message was winter is coming and we need to be prepared. Maybe hold and have like an emergency fund, some funds to make sure you can take care of your basic needs. So when you listen to that, as a listener, you're like, whoa, what is going on here, Jeff? You're in a business to sell products. That's what helped earn the world's largest yacht that you own right now, right? But also he says you need to hope for the best and prepare for the worst, especially for small businesses. So what does that mean, right? So it's kind of like, how do you read into this type of messaging that is going on outside? But there was a recent article, a really good blog article, shout out to Chelsea Cohen at Showstock for sharing this, is that stating that Amazon is in the second stage of their yearly budgeting procedure, known as OP2, and their attempt to what? Make a remarkable recovery in 2023. By what? Eliminating efficiencies. So the power of words, eliminating efficiencies. Let's take note of that. And then they're looking at another round of layoffs here. They already laid off, I think, 18,000 people. There's another round of layoffs coming around 9,000. And then they're also limiting and reducing the Amazon employee stock awards. So it's important to understand that too, that they are adapting to the world economy right now. They're contracting, right? Now think of what happened in 2022. Well, in 2022, they had an overall negative operating profit, right? Well, it was actually positive, but in a lot of their core business was in the negative. So when you look at the pie that Amazon has in their revenue breakdown, 43% still with the online stores and 23% is with third-party services, right? But I want you to pay particular attention of how they are adapting and evolving as a company, especially paying particular attention to their AWS cloud computing and then the advertising, right? So when you look at that, look at the last 3 years in a row. Now, what is going to happen tomorrow, Seth, and everyone listening is you got the quarterly earnings report that's should come out tomorrow for Q1 of 2023. So if you look at, we know that Amazon grew at 40% during the height of COVID, right? But who wants to go back to the days of Amazon and or governments around the world basically dictating what products were essential to be sold on Amazon or anywhere else? The brick and mortar stores were closed, right? Everyone was wearing masks. And luckily we had to adapt then like we're having to adapt now so we can ultimately evolve and hopefully learn something from our recent past and our history. So when you look at the overall mix right here, Amazon reported a negative $2 billion and for the North American market last year and $7.7 billion internationally in their business as a negative, right? But what helped them right the ship and keep afloat was the massive growth in AWS. So what does that mean to us? But there's another sector too that's massively grown very quickly, as you can see almost parabolically, really, is their advertising division, right? Now that's very important to pay attention to, because we have to ask ourselves, how is Amazon making money? And then how can we adapt and evolve to where we can align whatever we're doing either as private label or if you're an agency to make sure that we can still stay in the game and be profitable. So when I was looking at and preparing for this talk, I was like, well, obviously we need to diversify our business either through products, adding new products that are profitable, or what I call the money grabs, the type of products that basically are good enough to pay your bills or your operating expenses, right? While maximizing profits in other products. What about services? A lot of folks that are in private label have been massively successful, kind of like Sean and Seth. You have had coaching businesses and you have masterminds and you have a great, not only the products, but services you provide online. So shout out to you guys for doing such a great job. But you've had to adapt and evolve your business over the many years. So for example, the business you have today is not going to look like the business you have tomorrow in the future, right? So all of us are forced to adapt and to evolve, right? By diversification. So when you're able to diversify your business, you're actually going to be able to reduce your risk, right? A lot of times what will happen is you're looking for the most cost-effective ways to be able to sell what? sell more units on Amazon, right? But what if you looked at it a little more broadly, kind of like as a business strategy, and say a strategist, and say at a 30,000-foot view, what is going to help me to be able to adapt and evolve to a worldwide market? Well, an omni-channel experience could really help out with that. What if, I mean, say you're the masters of Amazon, what if you created a listing on Walmart, or you expanded to eBay or Shopify, right? You can have your Shopify site and then have Amazon multi-channel fulfillment, right? They can integrate that. So there's finding creative ways of maybe embracing not only the omni-channel experience, but also just kind of not really dabbling, but being very strategic and your kind of service offerings, testing it out. And if it sticks, great. But what we do know too, in diversifying our risk, sometimes just 1 out of 3 products may make it. 1 out of 10 may be your actual all-star product, right? But you have to kind of get through the going through times of trying to figure it out. But listing optimization is always going to be a staple. This is kind of like how we started our agency, that we've had to evolve over time here with Awesome Co. To be able to provide the different services that ultimately, when we were interviewing our current clients, we said, well, what is it that you need most of that you're not able to provide yourself or do yourself? Or what is it, what other, are you working with other agencies? So are you happy with them? And if not, what would you do to change that experience and that value, right? Because what we are all in business to do is provide value that's ultimately valued, right? And valued and valued and valued for the repeat business, right? But what I love what the other speaker said today was, it's the importance of building a relationship that's sustainable, right? Ultimately, you're building trust is what you're doing. So what I want to share with you is how Awesome Co has evolved. Kind of like, I'm not saying we're like at the scale of Amazon, but I learned from Amazon. I learned from other companies I work with that it's important to diversify your products and services. So we start out as a wholesaler, an authorized wholesaler. We moved into brand management once we really understood the ecosystem and ins and outs of Amazon. Then we started really investing a lot of time and energy in learning PPC, right? PPC, and then we got into graphic design. We became an omni-channel marketing and management company in a way to where we really invested a lot of time, money, and energy to become experts on eBay and Walmart as well, because I'm getting ready to share you some information here soon of the importance of positioning your products and service where people are shopping. That's very important. Positioning. Now, the 4 keys of marketing is product, price, place, and promotion. That's what they teach in schools, right? But what they really should be focusing on is you got to have the people, but you also need to be able to position your product accordingly. So you can see how we're kind of involved in the things that we're doing. But you got to ask yourself, all right, William, you're talking about, we understand adversity. We all have to adapt. We all have to evolve. Well, what I'm saying is you can actually, by diversifying your business, you're creating certain levers that you can push and pull or turn the knobs, throttle up or throttle down when needed, right? Or based upon the current needs of your client. So a product, for example, in this first case study I want to share with you is, we came on board not too long ago, and it's important to understand the history, right? Understanding history and the evolution of how you can create, or what I say, push buttons or pull levers when you need to be able to grow profits and sell more units per month. So we did a deep dive with a brand of what I call an undervalued product. It was only selling about 15 units per month, right? And as you can see right here, this is directly from Helium 10, a sales graph. And between July 2021 and October, we started out as a wholesaler, became a brand management, but we were able to optimize the listing, right? We really focused in on the key things that were missing with this product. We found out this product was basically a premium quality. There is no stone left unturned in building this product. But when we looked at the listing and we identified and really understood the history of the marketing efforts, we found out that this product wasn't really ever properly introduced. Now, let me deviate here for a second. See, there are 4 stages of a product lifestyle cycle, and that is the introduction, the growth mode, it gets to maturity, and then it declines. Well, in our further analysis, we found out that this product really wasn't ever properly introduced to the e-commerce market. Now, we had grand visions at the time and say, well, what if we could really gain the attention of not only people on the inside of Amazon, but what about outside? Because that's what listing optimization can do. It will help you index. And you all know that the images that you've literally labored and your graphic design team and creative design team spent hours in creating. And next thing you know, you see it on Google. You see people ripping off, and whether it be a counterfeiter or a rogue seller using it on eBay. You're saying copy, right? Because we have to give up our copyrights when we submit our copy within these marketplaces, okay? So basically in a short amount of time, we were able to increase sales of 42 units a month, which is proof positive. Once you index, you can start growing incrementally. Again, sometimes incremental growth is important. And in this case, it absolutely was, because we learned to ask smart questions with brand owners. I asked the brand owners, you have 2 really good hero products, the multitude of products you manufacture, but how much money or how much budget do you have to really support and get and help this product lift and to grow and scale? And they were cash flowing. They're a debt-free company, which is very important to understand too, especially when you start to invest in PPC like we did. We optimized the listing. See, there's a checklist, right? Then you get into PPC advertising. And then what you can see this sales growth trajectory, right? Because we were cash flowing, supporting this product as much as we could by not going into debt and using the profits that were generated from the other successful products. And then how we were managing things along the way was an aggregation of a blended margin, right? The aggregated margin. So we look at that, we went from selling 15 units a month, and then we were at a 10x sales in a relatively short time in a very economically, or what I can call a feasible trajectory, to where they were selling over 90% more per month than they were before. We were at a 10x of sales. How we were doing it? We invested in SEO, great imagery, A+ storefront. Everyone understands those type of stories. But what else were we doing in the interim to create such sales growth? When we started really investing in just posting and really good educational content on social media, utilizing the free marketing and advertising space, right? And then next thing you know, we started getting some nice engagements and things like that. And then we embedded a link tree, to where people can choose where they go. And we started doing the brand referral bonus program within Amazon. And what was interesting is as we were evolving for the entire company in this brand's portfolio, we were able to increase those sales because of what happened in case number 2. So very quickly, when we look at this is very important indicators here that each of you can employ in your own business if you're not doing it right now. See, we took another product, one of their marquee products, because, at first it was kind of like, it was selling okay, but it wasn't like the top seller. But I saw massive potential in it because it had actual benefits, ancillary benefits the product can provide that wasn't being marketed. So again, same story. Low sales units per month. Then within 2 months, we were able to increase the average monthly units to 254 units, a 68% increase in a matter of 2 months. You're like, okay, well, that's okay. Nice, William. Now, what I want to share with you today is that it's okay to show consumers or your clients some grassroots guerrilla marketing per se, things that they can do. And if they don't, again, have the assets or the capability to do so, your number one asset as an agency, if you are, is to be resourceful, to be able to get it done. Okay, so you can see here on the right-hand side of the screen something very important. See, when you invest in your brand and you're sharing the benefits and you're really maximizing the amount of videos that the how-to videos, and then user-generated videos from reviews from actual customers, it can really gravitate and really bring people in to your brand to where you can increase trust. Now think about this. Imagine you sold a product that ultimately resulted in creating a raving fan. Okay. And that raving fan felt so compelled because they loved the product so much that they discovered they created their own little TikTok video. Now imagine this person that sent a TikTok video only had about a couple hundred subscribers or views, right? But they loved the product so much, they created a TikTok video, and then we saw a bump in sales in addition to PPC, right? And then another bump of sales. Now you're going to see a little gap right here. Seth and everyone else, what is the number one rule at Amazon? Never run out of inventory, right? What's the number two? What's the number two rule? Refer to number one if you're ever confused, right? So what happened is we didn't see this coming. We did not coordinate this. We just helped create raving fans. And then obviously we reached out to this individual. So continuing on to this, the power of social media is right here, right here. 1.5 million views, up to 3 million views. And then shortly after, just about a month and a half later, we kept on optimizing. We kept on investing in PPC. We kept on posting our social media feeds, but we did something that was really important. We gained the permission to repost that TikTok video and re-edit it and then post it in other social media sites, right? And then we contacted that social media influencer. Again, that helped with the number of views, but it also proved that social media can help boost sales. Not only boost sales for the short term, but for the long term. And if you look at this right here, a separate raving fan was created that at the end of the day, when we contacted them, when we first started getting creating a relationship with them, they never saw the first video. So it's a different platform. This Instagram short video, 31.5 million views. What happened to our sales? They exploded. We're sending in product like crazy, literally almost like 2 times a week to try to keep up with demand. Sales were exploding. And you can see throughout 2022, we went viral on social media 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. All because of user-generated content that was authentic that we ultimately did not pay for. Now think about that. That's like the best form of advertising, right? So we had another Instagram video. They just kind of used the same video, spliced it up, made it, and they did it. Now we were creating our own videos on our own. Okay. But this is from raving fans. And then going towards the last of end of the year, we created a relationship with the Instagram individuals, what I'll call, that became an influencer. By the way, that person only had about 500 followers. By the time that all these videos went viral, they're in the hundreds of thousands now. That we were creating a relationship by DMing each other a little at a time. And next thing, and then because we had been investing and learning about social media, I said, hey, here's an idea. You just share with me that you come up with another video. I said, do you have a YouTube channel? No, I've really thought about creating one. I said, create one. I said, and then what I would ask you to do is launch your videos on the same day on Instagram and the YouTube short. So guess what happened? I think there's an industry term, and again, I'm still learning, synchronization among platforms, right? So because there was a trust factor within that Instagram algorithm, it tripped up and that new video went up to 16 million views. And then at the same time, YouTube, which he had almost like 0 followers, now he was in up to 25 million views. Look what it helped do with this product and this business. And then the profits we were generating from all these videos going viral, and we feel very blessed on that. There was a lot of lessons learned along the way. And then as we were learning lessons, we were kind of collaborating with these social media influencers. We got them signed up on the brand using our brand referral affiliate program. And then we gave them a specific exclusive promo discount to provide to their viewers. So we were doing things like that. And then, so we were in what I would say is, instead of when things happen, have plans in place for when then. And luckily, because we had to learn and adapt and evolve very quickly, we learned along the way. We created plan Bs that ultimately worked us. And then you got to think about the baseline of sales that's forever changed. So what is the results? Well, the results was this. What most people don't understand is this: when you're building your brand, the big box and mortar stores has merchandising folks in their departments that are paid to scour social media to find and identify new and unique products that they ultimately would look to start selling on their online portal. So when you look at that, so what was the end result on this? Well, we quickly gained the attention of Home Depot, Walmart, corporate, and Lowe's. See, when I'm talking about diversifying your business, I'm asking you today is just don't be hyper focused on one thing. It's okay. We know that riches are in the niches, right? That's okay. And that's fine. Be great at what you do, but be committed in whatever you do, right? So the end result was we're able to take this product and brand from 80 average units per month to now over 2,400. And that's lasted for about a year right now. Now think about that. What can that do to your business? And we know that a lot of people, I think when they're talking about how many millions that they generate and so forth, that is important, right? But what about those small to medium-sized brands that are really just trying to get going, right? Not everyone is a big business. So there is some common themes in this thread here, as you can see on this list of the things that we were doing strategically. And then we learned a lesson too. If you can do one thing and you're working with social media influencers, how about you coordinated a mass marketing effort where you're doing email, text, social media, video posts, and PPC campaigns at the same time? Everyone's asking about the algorithm, A9 algorithm, right? And it is evolving. But sometimes you got to do things that wakes up that algorithm that really ultimately is going to help you with your BSR and your rankings, right? So important to all of us. But who would not want 30X in sales, right? So I'm imploring all of us to focus on what's most important now. The famous author and business mogul, Peter Drucker wrote a book called The Effective Executive. That's right, The Effective Executive, right? And so I came up with this win-in formula here, right, that we use here at AwesomeCo, is that when you become hyper-focused, which is basically a lot of effort, and you multiply it by your internal beliefs, whether it be spiritual or just your personal beliefs, and you're consistent over time in doing things, then whatever results you get are going to be simply awesome, because the business that you have today is not going to look like the business tomorrow. So it's important, as we're closing up here, the importance for us to adapt and evolve. So successful businesses are those that can adapt and evolve quickly and understand that a business plan is not static. It should be a living, breathing entity, right? So we should master the internal and external workings of your business, but always pay attention to what's going on outside. What were to happen if we were to get closed down again? So unfortunately, we had a healthcare scare. Now we have an economic scare, right? From the pandemic to the economic recession, right? So what you're doing today is you're investing your time to continual learning. But diversified marketing strategies needs to be implemented based upon your goals and your ability, right? There's some businesses out there that don't want to go in debt, and that's fine. I'm not saying debt is dumb, right? But what I'm saying is this: if you can cash flow something, sometimes there is a value being steady Eddie, right? I know money loves speed. We all know that. But sometimes the brands, like the brands we represent, can't afford to put themselves and their livelihoods at such a high risk sometimes, right? So expanding to other Amazon marketplaces, this is another strategy we implemented. Once we started doing a really great job and we had that demand that justified, we expanded into Amazon Canada and then became the #1 product in the category for 2 different one of those products. Who would not want that, right? That right there is a badge of honor and something that we're proud to be able to report back to our brands, right, that we represent. But expanding into other marketplaces, consider it. What I didn't share with you is this, and you probably read it, that when we were going viral on social media and our sales were exploding, as were the sales too on eBay and Walmart. Now, why would you want to do that? You need to go where they're hanging out or shopping, right? But 2, have a plan B. Our plan B is, as we are running out of stock, we know for a fact that people will go into Walmart and buy the product that was in stock. So that's a lesson learned, is that it's good to have a plan B, always good to have an FBM listing. But the reason we did not do that is that the customer in which we serve was someone that spends some time on short-time mission trips, and they were out of the country for a while. So it was impossible to have someone else fulfilling those. We could have had a third party. Yes, we know that, 3PLs to kind of help out with that. But again, we are adapting and evolving based upon the needs of the brand, right? So in summary, I want to give you some bonus information here. Who doesn't like bonus information? So what is it you can do? I've been telling you what's going on outside. We need the things that we can do to really look of the inside of our business, to get rid of all the inefficiencies, try to get rid of bad debt as much as you can. I would highly suggest in this bonus, save up to about 3 months of your operational expenses as an emergency fund, because I will say this, you never know when a listing can become suppressed or a product listing, right? Has the algorithm ever done some quirky things on your listings? They have us, especially here recently, because the algorithm basically resets the catalog once a year around February, March, right? And it messes with your BSR. Sometimes we had subcategories change randomly on us, right? But these are some great things that you can do. And it's also been reported when we actually tested this, is that a lot of times the Google ads are less expensive now than on Amazon. So why not invest and consider going outside of Amazon PPC, invest in some Google ads, still get an applicable amount of impressions, right? And using some exact keywords as part of your strategy. We tested that recently and actually kind of worked, and we were able to save the private label owner considerable cash because we're investing a lot in PPC, right? So it's, in other words, it's just being creative and sharing information kind of like we are in this monthly masterclass. Did you know this too? You can have a backup supplier. I learned this in the surgical device world that I lived in, is that we had backup suppliers. What if you have backup inventory of maybe around 10%? Now, I know that's hard. It's a hard pill, right? But luckily, we had product in our warehouse that can fulfill the increased demand. We just need to make sure that those systems and processes in order, that they were Amazon ready to ship out, right? So if you're not doing that, take a deep dive and really look into some of the inefficiencies. Try to get rid of them. Cut the fat, stick with the meat, right? But sometimes, again, we know that we can employ tax saving strategies as business owners. Look at what Amazon's doing. Without AWS, without Amazon advertising, had they not diversified, where would Amazon be? And would they be as an attractive stock to purchase? Now think about that, or a company to invest in. Millions of dollars have been generated on Amazon and will still do so in order. But at the end of the day, you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. So with that said, I want to thank you for the opportunity. Apologize for the technical difficulties, and I'd love to be able to take some Q&A if you're up for it, Seth.
Yeah, William, this has been really good here. Let's see what Q&A we have. Dun, dun, dun. So guys, do you have any questions for William? William's a wealth of knowledge and has tons of experience. He's been in the game a long time. Obviously, William, your business has evolved just like you've mentioned, but you've definitely been around the block a time or two and experienced a lot of things. So you're a wealth of knowledge for sure. Where can people find out more about what you have going on or reach out to you?
Yeah, so we just basically updated our website and go to awsimco.com, awesomecode.com. If you don't understand how to pronounce our name, to say the word awesome at least 3 times and you kind of get it, right? Yeah, Awesome Code. And then you can email us directly at info@awesomecode.com. We'd love to hear from you. Again, who was our winner there, Seth? I want to make sure that I capitalize on the opportunity to speak to the person.
Yes, Randall was the winner, and I'm going to go ahead and send you his email address here in the chat so you can reach out.
All right, Randall. Hey, congratulations, and thank you for that. And as a bonus, Seth, I do want to say this, that for all Post-Purchase Pro clients, only for Post-Purchase Pro clients, we are offering a 25% discount for the
Oh,
first
awesome.
2 months of brand management fees.
That's amazing. So Randall, I guess my clipboard didn't grab your email. So if you don't mind, just shoot us your email again, and then I'm going to send that over
I
to
got
William.
it. I think he's in
You already got
Canada.
it? Okay.
Yeah, let me write that down real quick, Randall. I will contact you, Randall. Email me directly at info@awesomeco, Randall, and I'm going to write your email down and follow up with you too as well. Again, thank you folks for sticking around and allow me to present today. If you need any information, I'm always available.
We really appreciate you. Thanks so much, William.
And thank you. Take care now.
Thanks, William. Bye.
Uh-huh.
All right, guys, we're just going to go ahead and wrap up today's session. I want to remind you to go ahead and get registered for our upcoming 23 Hacks webinar. If you were a part of any of our Hacks series webinars last year, you know that they do fill up. They're the most popular thing that we do all year long. I think last time that we did it, there was 9,000 sellers that registered, and about 6,000 of them couldn't get in because I think our Zoom package only supports up to a couple thousand people live. So make sure you get registered. Make sure you show up early. If you just go to 23hacks.com, you can get registered. That's going to be on May the 10th. I'm just going to drop the link there in the chat box. So go to the chat box right now, click on the links for 23 hacks. What we're going to do is we're just going to go through 23 Amazon seller hacks in a hurry, 5 minutes a piece about, and then we're going to have some special bonus hacks. Go ahead and get registered, and then I'll see you guys then. But I think we've handled all the questions, so we're all good here. So guys, thanks for hanging out with us on another episode of the Post Purchase Pro Monthly Masterclass. I'll see you guys next month.